Meeting will please come to order. Barbara, please call the roll.
We have Commissioners Berard, Funderburk, Levine, and Noonan present.
Thank you. This proceeding is broadcast on Channel 35. The exact broadcast times can be found by contacting Channel 35. Also, with regard to the people in Bishop, we can see you clearly. We can see you, we can see the audience, we can see the signs and the flags. You can't see us, but rest assured that we can see you. We will hear you clearly, and we apologize that the two-way site doesn't work, but we get the better end of the deal because we can see you, and you don't have to look at us. We'll look forward to hearing from you shortly. I only have one opening remark, which is to announce, as the other members of the Commission and senior staff know, that unfortunately Commissioner Fleming resigned after almost 4 years on this commission. And he advised us several days ago that he had decided that this was the appropriate time for him to tender his resignation. So I know I'm speaking for the other commissioners when I say that we all very, very deeply regret his resignation. He was an extremely respected member of this commission. We have, I am told, 32 public speaker cards in under item 2, general public comments. We have 11 in Bishop, and we have 22 here. Ordinarily, I would call the people from Bishop first, but I think I'm going to call the people who've taken the time and trouble to drive to Los Angeles first, seeing as they had to get up at God knows what time in order to make it here, and the people in Bishop are at least closer to their abodes than the people who have come to Los Angeles. So I will call on the 21 speakers who have come from the Bishop area to speak at our hearing. Ordinarily, we give each speaker up to 2 minutes. I'm going to suggest that the primary spokesman, whomever that is, have the opportunity to speak for 4 or 5 minutes, and then we will continue to apportion up to 2 minutes for the others, but I would encourage you not to repeat things that already have been amply stated, because it's not necessarily useful to just have 15 people say the same thing. So Barbara, please call on the speakers.
Okay, the first speaker is Shannon Romero, Chairwoman.
Manahu, Inaniane, Shannon Romero. I stand before you, the tribal chairwoman of the Big Pine Paiute tribe of the Owens Valley. On behalf of the Big Pine Paiute, our tribal citizens and allies have traveled 8 hours to deliver this message regarding delivery of irrigation water per the 1939 Land Exchange Agreement. This issue specific to the irrigation pipe started 3 years ago and is well documented in letters from the tribe identifying potential leaks and eventually evolved to the destruction of the pipe due to DWP's negligence. The tribe has in good faith attempted to resolve this issue and has been met with red tape and negotiation tactics that threaten the tribe. We are now taking a public stand because this treatment of our people can no longer be tolerated. Negotiations with Aqueduct manager James Iannata have gone nowhere. Some of what has been identified in language of the LOA and the ROE are threatening. Specifically, the idea of identifying the pond outlet that we cannot find on any map prior to 1970 as a point of entry. Despite that fact, the pond outlet and the main line are on DWP land. DWP claimed last year that by delivering some water to a portion of the pond on the reservation land, and there's no outlet to the reservation, DWP thereby met its obligation to deliver for the water delivery to the reservation. To a normal person, this is a corrupt interpretation of the requirements of the 1939 Land Exchange Agreement. Despite the tribe's attempt to negotiate terms acceptable to the DWP refuses to budge on key terms. It would be unacceptable for the tribe to, 1, rewrite the past by signing a document that fabricates or alters past circumstances. 2, lock itself into responsibility or ownership of the pipe when DWP still dictates the terms of access, where DWP could evict the tribe and or order the pipe removed. 3, most importantly, release DWP from all claims, past, present, and future, when to do so would bar the tribe forever from attempts to establish quantified water rights. Our ancestors are the original inhabitants of the Owens Valley, which we refer to as Payahunadu. We farmed, we irrigated, and we're stewards of the land. We stood when settlers arrived and attempted to desecrate our lands by mining for gold and even encroaching upon our lands with their cattle and threatening our indigenous foods and medicines. We have used the water from the now named Big Pine Creek from time immemorial. I stand here today knowing the fight and struggle my people have gone through to attain these rights and will not sign them away with a stroke of a pen. Department of Water and Power's April 5th, 2016 letter of permission and other correspondence from the DWP indicate that the land and the mainland belong to DWP and that DWP retains full authority to dictate terms of access. The pipe is owned by DWP, it's on their land, and the language in the agreement is clear, and the LADWP's correspondence seem to support that. It is your responsibility to repair it. I'm here on behalf of my people to inform you without water, our tribe is placed in a state of emergency. The lack of irrigation water puts a strain on our aging domestic water because citizens now have to utilize treated water for agriculture and livestock. Our farmers market was devastated last year due to the lack of water, and families have lost gardens or were financially strained by large bills using domestic water. Our valley was in a dire state of need last year with the lack of water and the amount of pumping that LADWP was doing. Our prayers have been answered with the recent precipitation and massive snowpacks. There's so much water, LADWP must now plan how to stockpile it. Yesterday, we heard from Mayor Garcetti that the runoff has been placed the city of Los Angeles in a state of emergency, and he plans to replenish the aquifers along the aqueduct. There are plans to route the water around the Owens Lake to save the dust mitigation, which has long been advocated by tribal officials to be flooded and revitalized for the sake of the ecosystem. What I'm getting at is the lack of respect for our community and the environment. If DWP does not fix the pipe, they will in a sense be going around us and with our own local water. Bigotry and racism comes to mind as we have been needlessly sidetracked and red taped, something that is obligated to us. Are we not people to you? The 1939 Land Exchange clearly outlines operation, maintenance, and betterment charges in Section 32 specifically states, the city hereby agrees at all times to bear operation, maintenance, and betterment charges entitles in the due performance of the obligations hereunder. I stand here with my ancestors by my side to tell you that we are still here, and we are here to demand DWP acknowledge their obligation to the 1939 Land Exchange Agreement and fix the pipe. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Harry Williams, and after that, Alan Baycock.
Good morning. My name is Harry Williams. I'm a member of the Owens Valley Shoshone Bands of Indians. In 1939, you did a land exchange with certain agreements, or contractual agreements, and today they are being broken. Do you need to be sued like your history tells us in Owens Valley? You don't abide by the long-term water agreement. You don't abide by contract and moral obligations that the city of Los Angeles signed with the United States government for the Owens Valley Shoshone Bands of Indians. What does that mean to you? I once asked one of you general managers that question, and he straight off told me, we're not a moral people. David Freeman, you guys hired him. I also looked at their other history, Lower Runs River Project. It was won, and it was cited by Jerry Geevy for saying it is cheaper for us to go to court and then instead of give up water. Is that what the culture is here in Los Angeles? I ask you guys, do you guys want to go to court? We're not taking it to public court. This is an act of genocide, act of public trust. You sign these agreements and you don't fulfill them. In the history of the Owens Valley, in the watershed, what you guys claim to own, the Mona Lake Committee had to go to court. The Owens Lake had to go to court. Lower Orange River Project had to go to court, where they were all signed in the 1991 long-term water agreement. So is this what your guys' culture is? You call yourself the City of Angels. I guess that's a lie. You might as well just change it. Los Diablos is what I call you guys. It's fitting. And then you got all the alternative facts. I go to technical meetings and I listen to all this. It's just straight BS. Since 2011, the comments from LADWP is always, it's our water and we're not going to give any of it up. Is that who you guys are? Got to sue you? Got no morality? You don't uphold your contracts? Well, that's why I'm here, and that's why our people here. We are tired. Your obligation was to bring water to exterior boundaries of the reservation. It's broken on your land. You won't let them do it without them signing a new agreement to blackmail them to lessen their rights for land and water in our original homeland.
Could you wrap up your remarks, please? Your time is up.
15,000 years. And this is how we're treated by angels. Sorry.
The next speaker is Alan Baycock, and after that, Jamie Robinson.
Okay, President Levine, may I?
Sure.
Having served on the INYO committee for 7 years, I would also resign from this board if I felt that the allegations that you just stated were correct. My understanding is different, and I hope that we can resolve this.
I call that alternative fact.
I'm very, very saddened that this has gotten to the point that it has, because I thought it was going to be resolved. But trust me, I would not lay my name and reputation on the line to hurt you and your community in any fashion.
Thank you.
Manahu Hinaniane Alan Baycock. My name is Alan Baycock. I am a Big Pine tribal member. And yesterday, Mayor Garcetti did issue an emergency proclamation because of an enormous amount of runoff that is anticipated from the Eastern Sierra, equal to 241% of normal to date. Los Angeles is preparing for this throughout the LA aqueduct system. And yet there will be a dry island throughout the Big Pine Indian Reservation where none of that water will reach if this pipe is not fixed. Trees will continue to die. Gardeners are right now wondering, do I plant? Do I put seeds in the ground so that I can be able to water? Or do I put seeds in the ground so I can be able to have food for my family and for the continued healthy lifestyle that our tribe has been promoting over time? Fix the pipe, DWP. Our people are demanding action. Our people are demanding justice. Your staff have failed. And it is up to you, as Commissioner Noonan shared, to be able to make a difference for our people, to make things right. The City of Los Angeles in September of 2016 passed a resolution to oppose the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline because there was not meaningful consultation with tribal nations. And there was a recognition of the rights of tribal nations to protect their sovereign resources. Is this board walking alongside that resolution that the City of Los Angeles has passed in its relationship with the Big Pine Paiute tribe? As I shared at your last meeting, The resolution of this issue is easy. Fix the pipe. It's not a time for stalling. Fix the pipe. It's not a time for staff to try to negotiate away the tribe's rights. Fix the pipe.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Jamie Robinson, and after that, say Andrew Romero.
Hi, I'm Jamie Robinson, and I am 16 years old and from Big Pine Paiute tribe. I've never been really good at speaking in front of people, so.
You're doing fine.
My whole life, I've never really seen green around the res, and so all I've heard was, oh, it's LA, it's LA's fault, and I never really understood why, but my teachers have been like trying to explain it to us more, and our class gets really hateful for LA, and I don't want it to be like that. I remember my dad growing strawberries in the yard, and lately he hasn't been doing that. I thought he was just being lazy, and then today or yesterday I found out that it was because the pipe was broken, and my brothers have to play in the dirt and there's no green, and I come here and there's green everywhere, and it's really not fair, and just really hope that you guys fix the pipe, and because even though I won't be able to live with green everywhere, I want the generation after me too. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next speaker is say Andrew Romero, and after that, Rose Ann Moose.
Manahu, Hinanine, Alapian Chunta'i. My name is Sage Andrew Romero of the Big Pine Paiute in the Taos Pueblo. And I come forth to you as a community member of the Big Pine Paiute tribe and also as a cultural advocate. I'm a teacher of language and dance and song and culture, heritage. And we take pride in being able to bring back our traditional food sovereignty, being able to grow our own things. But with this lack of water that we have had lately because of the irrigation pipe not being fixed, we've lost all that for the most part. It's dried up. Our gardens are having a hard time. Families are having difficulty. A lot of our traditional medicine sites are starting to dry up because of the ground pumping. And all these things are being affected. And so I'm asking you to just look at that and think about that. And we come here today with our allies, not only from our valley, but also from here in Los Angeles. They've come to stand with us in solidarity. And they come in strength with the belief that Miniwachoni, water is life. And what we say in our Paiute people, Payapisha, it's blessing. Our water is a blessing. And that's what we're asking for, is for us to have our water back. And so we can thrive as a people and keep our culture and heritage alive. And again, I stand with all my people in solidarity. Miniwachoni.
The next speaker is Rose Ann Moose, and after that, Jesse Archer.
Good morning. Hey, Karen. You know what was so funny? I just opened my book, and I was here on 7/19 talking about the same thing, water. When are we going to get our water fixed? When are you going to help us, the people? You know, the people in our community are suffering because they don't have the water. They don't have the water for their baskets, the work they do. There's so many things that we do with water, and here we are begging for water, asking you to come fix a pipe. A pipe, 18 inches. When are you going to fix it? When are you guys going to be able to stand up and help people out here? You know, we're not just anybody. We're people from the Owens Valley. We've been here for a long time, and we're going to be here for a long time. But how are we going to continue living a good life when we don't even have the basic water? Fix the pipe. Simple.
The next speaker is Jesse Archer, and after that, Yolanda Cortez.
Monahu, Inaniane Jesse Archer. I am a citizen of the Big Pine Paiute Nation, and I'm here to talk on behalf of our Paya. That's Paiute for water. For the last 90 years, my government has appealed to the private entity, LADWP. The only responses we get back are sarcastic acknowledgement. So I speak directly to Angelinos, to the people of Los Angeles. It's only Angelinos who can right the decades of water mining from underneath our feet. The refusal of LADWP to fulfill its legal obligations to deliver water to my reservation it continues to devastate our community. The outrageous conditions placed on us by LADWP, they amount to us giving up our water rights. The impacts of being landlocked by LADWP has prohibited us from any meaningful economic development or even the ability for us to grow our own food. The Paiute people and the people of Los Angeles are now interconnected. We are now inseparable. We depend on each other now. We ask that our allies in Los Angeles come together, unite with the Big Pine people, and help us get our Paya back.
The next speaker is Yolanda Cortez, and after that, Paul Hewitt.
Good morning, my name is Yolanda Cortez. I'm a Big Pine Paiute tribal member, and I'm going to read a statement from the Inyo County 2nd District Supervisor Jeff Griffiths. Dear Board of Water and Power Commissioners, I support the Big Pine Paiute tribe of the Owens Valley in their efforts to work cooperatively with the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power to repair the infrastructure that delivers irrigation water to tribal land. This water is critical to support agriculture and gardening efforts as the Big Pine Paiute tribe works toward healthy living and food self-sufficiency. It is also critical to trees and landscaping healthy on the reservation. It is also important to fulfill this obligation in a way that respects tribal sovereignty. I trust that your board and staff will do the honorable thing and fix the pipe. Thank you for the opportunity to comment, and I look forward to a continued productive relationship. Sincerely, Jeff Griffiths. I personally want to implore you, please do right by us, fix the pipe. It's such a small thing to you, and it's such a big thing to us. We need the water. We need it for our families. You know, I have 3 kids. I can't garden. I can't grow anything. Our lawn has gone to dirt. It's wasted money now. Please just do right. Fix the pipe.
The next speaker is Paul Hewitt, and after that, Terry Riddell.
Monahu, President, Vice President, Commissioners. This is the 3rd time I've been here in a year, and I'm the water operator for the Big Pine Paiute tribe. I'm a tribal member. I sit on the Owens Valley Indian Water Commission. I'm a part of my environmental advisory board for my tribe. I'm really concerned about the environment, and my passion is water, and I feel that we're not getting the respect that we deserve as people. I know you all have hearts, and it's affecting about 600 of our people on the Big Pine Reservation without water. I get phone calls daily. Are we going to get water this year? Getting water this year? I don't want to blame anybody, but who's to blame? The pipe's on your land. You're responsible for that. You know, I know, like I said last time, if it was my land and it was helping some people, I would take care of it. You know, I quoted slumlords, and I don't want to say that about people. You know, we're neighbors. We should live neighborly, and we're surrounded by DWP land. The land was given, it was exchanged, was DWP land for our reservation of where it's at now. So we have a big link here together, no matter how we like it or not. So let's work together. I'm asking, as a person that also lived in Los Angeles at one point in time in my life, but I went home to my land, and working for the people is a blessing to me. You know, God has blessed me with this job to provide for my people, and it's heartening to me. You know, physically, this drive is nothing. I'm emotionally drained, because of the hurt that I have to go through not being able to provide water to my community, and it's not my fault. You know, I really wish that what you said was amazing, and I really liked what you said, and Mr. Levine, I've heard nothing but great things about you. So I would like to see, you know, you come together and just have them fix the pipe. I mean, it's not hard. We're not going anywhere. We can't just pick up and sell our houses like I said before. We're also replenishing the groundwater. You know, Big Pine is the most pumped. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, out of the whole Owens Valley. Big Pine is the most pumped. 24,000 acre feet per year. 20,000 acre feet is 6.5 billion gallons of water. I mean, billions. I mean, that's a lot of water. You know, so I'm asking for the people of the Big Pine Reservation that you fix the pipe, and we'll talk about things later. We're not going anywhere, and we're not just trying to just up and forget. Oh, you know, we care, we're neighborly, we're peaceful people, like my wife will share in a minute. We're peaceful people, and we just want good things for other people. So please direct your staff to fix the pipe. And also, the EPA, I don't know if you, they sent a letter.
Could you wrap up your remarks, please?
Yeah, when I'm done. The EPA sent you a letter stating about government-to-government consultation. I would ask you also to respect our tribal government. They're elected officials from our tribe, our general council, to represent us as a whole. Please give them that respect. And if they ask to be on the agenda to talk to you guys face to face, I would ask that you give them that respect and get them on the agenda. It's so hard to try to have to get on, for them to get on the agenda. So please take that into consideration as well. So fix a pipe, please.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Terry Red Owl, and after that, Rosanna Marujo.
Manahu, Inaniane, Terry Red Owl, Numanu, Payahupue. So thank you for having us here today, even though we're not on the agenda. I have a letter that's prepared by the Owens Valley Indian Water Commission, which is a tribal consortia that represents tribes in the Owens Valley, including the Big Pine Tribe. But I'm not going to read it because it's too long. It's longer than 2 minutes. But basically, you know, what I want to say is that you probably have heard from your staff, and you're probably going to hear from your staff, that they've worked out a solution to fix this broken pipeline that's located right here below the boundary of the reservation. However, that solution comes with strings attached. And those strings are asking the Big Pine Tribe, the original inhabitants of the land where your water comes from, the water that those people were using, their ancestors, my ancestors, before the settlers came, before Los Angeles came. You're asking them to sign away their future water rights. There's unresolved water rights between the tribes and the city of Los Angeles and the United States government that have yet to be settled. And what your staff is doing is they're looking at this as an opportunity to force the tribe into signing an agreement that's going to forego their future water rights. And I was thinking about this, and it kind of reminds me of, I was like, okay, what's an analogy of this? It's extortion. So basically, it'd be like somebody who's in an automobile accident, and they need life or death heart surgery. And maybe they have a spinal cord injury, and the insurance company comes along and says, we'll authorize your heart surgery that's going to save your life, but only if you sign an agreement waiving any future medical care. So in other words, you're going to be on your own to fix your knees, fix your spine, but we'll save your life right now. And this is life and death because you can see how dry this reservation is. The groundwater in this area is 100 feet below the surface because it's the heaviest pumped well field, the Big Pine well field in the Owens Valley, and that's a result of DWP actions. So they need that water. And just real quick, I know my time's up, but the reason why the community gardens are important is because diabetes is rampant in our community. The Native American population has the highest rate of diabetes than any other race, and we've started to combat that by going back to whole foods and teaching our young people to grow and eat natural and not eat refined, sugared, and processed foods. And so without this water, we can't continue the community gardens. The people that have gardens and orchards and maybe a couple fruit trees in the backyard, those things are dying and have died. So please, please don't make us have to sign away and extort us in order to fix this pipe. Thank you for your time.
The next speaker is Rosanna Marujo, and after that, Renee Vila.
Barbara, please call the next speaker again.
Rosanna Marujo.
I'm Rosanna Marujo of the Owens Valley Indian Water Commission, and I've been working there for 15 years. And I feel like as long as I've been there, our hands have been tied. And I'm not from this area, the Owens Valley, and so I see the struggles of the Paiutes and the Shoshones, and I don't understand why we can't just live in peace and harmony and help each other and live as one. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Renee Vila, and after that, Retha Hewitt.
Hello, my name is Renee Vela. My family and many generations of the Paiute tribe. I also live in Hacienda Heights, California. The drive up to Big Pine Bishop is beautiful. It takes me hours, but I enjoy the scenery and take my time. To hear that my people are not being given the rights that they deserve just for water. Living in California over here and down south over here, I understand we can't water like we want to. We're all being deprived of water. But we need to come with our brothers and sisters of our generations to keep the families going. And I just want to thank you guys for listening to us. And please listen to your hearts, because we're not trying to take water from anyone else or food, just what we deserve and right and what we need. So being part of the tribal member, as part of your community as well too, we can't stand this. We have to get together and do something. We need clean water to shower, eat, and everything. And I thank you guys for listening to us. And please open your hearts and imagine your children in high school learning you can't have fresh fruit. Those are day old. I can't show you how to grow like your ancestors would love me to show you because we don't have enough water to do so. Remember your children as well. We can't drink much water. Please help us. Thank you so much.
The next speaker is Retha Hewitt, and after that, Sonny Richards.
Hello, my name is Retha Hewitt. I'm a Big Pine tribal member. I'm a woman of faith, born and raised in Big Pine. We're blessed to be here. My husband and 4 of my children are here, 2 which had to get out of school to be here. All Big Pine tribal members. I would like to say in a good way that it's going to be good when you guys, DWP, fix the pipe that has been leaking and wasting water. There's no need for this issue to continue. We are peaceful people, raising our families and keeping our traditions and culture alive. We are not going anywhere. I am the 5th generation in the Owens Valley. I myself have been affected through the years in my life in Big Pine. The flood of '83 that caused damage to our res and our lifestyle and left us with sand lots. And still to this day, our yards, the upper res, are Sand. The Owens Valley Dry Lake. Dry Lake because LA Department of Water and Power took all the water and left the Dust Bowl. We were all affected by the hazardous dust. LADWP, all you have done is take. Now it is time to give back. We humbly pray for a good outcome today. We may be small, but we are mighty. The pipeline runs alongside my aunt and uncle's house, which I have witnessed grow into a good-sized creek, while our reservation has no irrigation. We have all suffered the California drought, but Big Pine tribal members have suffered our way of life. Last year, we all took a loss. I am married to Paul Hewitt, our water operator of the Big Pine tribe, and our household is very water conscious, and we depend on our irrigation water for our lawns, our plants, our trees, our animals. My yard has always flourished, and now my yard is damaged. It is dried up and desolate because I don't waste water. We water our yard very little using our tribal domestic source. Having drinking water for our people is more important than my yard, and I give that up. Please fix the pipe. This is my request. Last year, a DWP truck got stuck in the mud where the pipe is leaking, and it took a backhoe to get that big DWP truck out. That water truck that DWP truck sank into the mud that far. And I'm grateful to be here, and I just wanted to add, my little grandson, he loves water. He calls it YA. And this year I want to see that little boy play in the mud. I want to see him out there enjoying water. He can't even enjoy water. He loves to play with his water in the bathroom when he gets ready for school. And you guys need to fix the pipe. Fix the pipe. Fix the pipe.
The next speaker is Sonny Richards, and after that, Arthur Richards.
President Levine, may I speak for a moment?
Sure.
Again, I personally apologize for the frustration and hurt that your families have experienced. I take this to heart because I have been involved with your community, and I'm disappointed by the fact that I feel that legalities have not led to executing a proper agreement. That being said, to respect all of you and to honor my fellow board members, I, as a personal citizen, am willing to fix the pipe on my own expense, separate and apart from legalities, but I'm happy to underwrite that. So I will issue the check as soon as the invoice is sent to me.
Manahu, Inani Ine, Sonny Richards, and I'm from Big Pine, California, and I'm also part of the Big Pine Paiute tribe. And I'm happy that you got to fix the pipe, or that you are going to fix the pipe. And so it's kind of hard for me to say because I was going to say something else, but anyways.
The next speaker is Arthur Richards, and after that, Elizabeth Richards.
Manahu Nanine, my name's Arthur. I'm happy that you changed your mind to fix the pipe, and thank you.
The next speaker is Elizabeth Richards.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Richards, and I'm glad you finally made the decision to fix the pipe. I came here very disappointed in all of you because it took us this long just to fix the pipe. But I'm glad it's over and we can get this done with, and we won't have to come here and demand our water back, something like my mom said, it's just our basic needs, and there's gonna be a lot of changes. We're gonna have our water back, and we can actually garden. We can do more things with our community. It was just this one simple thing that needed to be fixed, and it's finally gonna be fixed, and I hope so. I don't hope you guys don't go back on your word. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
And just to be clear, although I'm an extension of the department, I am offering this as an individual citizen. So that being said, I want to care for your communities, but I cannot represent the entire board nor the entire department at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Noonan. I'm Tracy Bowers-Stitt. I'm a member of the Big Pine Paiute tribe, and I see all the eye contact going on, and I appreciate your offer to fix the pipe. Just wondering, I mean, it was never about the cost of the pipe. It was all those additional requirements that the DWP was attaching to the repair of the pipe. Let's see if the pipe gets fixed. Thank you so much.
Could you fill out a card, please? I didn't have a card for you, Ms. Bowers. Thank you. The next speaker I have is Teresa Brady, and after that, Kenneth Nagy.
Hi, I'm Teresa Brady, and I'd like to offer my time to any tribal member who felt like they needed more time. But if nobody takes me up on it, I live in LA, and I've always felt that Los Angeles, our water comes from other places. Nature suffers, and people who live in those communities suffer because every drop of water we use in LA is imported. I've respected the DWP because it is a municipal water district and it isn't run on a profit. That's my understanding. You're not here to make a profit on water. You are a municipal water district, which makes you a non-profit, that you can't make a profit on water. So therefore, the people who need the water in their own communities should have access to that, and nature should have access to that. And if the Owens Lake is drying up, that should also be corrected because those dust bowls are really not safe for people to breathe, like the Salton Sea. And then I'm sure you've all heard the saying, the natives saying, that only when the last tree is cut down and the last river is polluted and the last, what's the other one? Fish is caught, that you'll understand that you can't eat money. And I know this isn't like I don't believe this is about profit, but it shouldn't be because you're a municipal water district. Thank you.
The next speaker is Kenneth Nagy, and after that, Carol Springer.
Hello, Owens Valley. Well, hello. How you guys doing today? As a veteran who deployed to Standing Rock in December to act as a human shield for the peaceful water protectors from rubber bullets, concussion grenades, mace, pepper spray, and water cannons in 29 degrees temperature, I am appalled. I am disgusted that this injustice is happening in my backyard. Standing Rock is everywhere. If need be, I will be helped to right this wrong, including risking citizens' arrest for civil disobedience, and I am not above calling out veterans and making them aware of the Department of Power and Water here in Los Angeles of all the wrongs done against an indigenous people. You guys are on the wrong side of history. You guys should be on the right side of history. If it was allowable and you were not a corporation, I would citizens arrest each and every one of you. That is all. Thank you.
The next speaker is Carol Springer, and after that, Lydia, I think it's Pone.
Good morning. My name is Carol Springer. I wasn't intending to talk today because I'm rather new to LA. I came from a place where water was pretty abundant, and I was very reluctant to move here because of the water issues. Since moving here, because I've continued my gardening interests, I depend on water for it. It makes me feel like a criminal when I hear about all the people who are deprived of water because I'm watering my garden here in LA. I've just been learning recently about how water gets to LA because my friend Sam here, who's documenting this, made a documentary called The Longest Straw, where she hiked the whole pipeline. And one of the things that just broke my heart, I see all over the place, save the drop, save the drop. I'm very conscious about doing that. But when she showed pictures of the pipeline with little leaks and big gushers all along the way, it's about more than one leaking pipe. It's about leaks all along the pipe that really need to be fixed. So rather than having to feel like a criminal when I turn on a tap, I hope that all the leaks in the pipe will be fixed. Thank you.
The next speaker is Lydia, I think it's Ponce, and after that, Kat Hernandez.
Ponce is a man who solicits women. It's Ponce. Thank you.
Oh.
Good morning. With a heavy heart, I have to share just a little bit that all of us are so indebted to the sufferings of the people that are here today who traveled the distance. And I was going to cede my time, but I do have to share. Every single one of you have a cylinder of water. Okay, give thanks. It's at their sufferings. And every drop does matter. Because CD11 rep, I single-handedly appealed his dastardly, stupid, ignorant idea of an ice skating rink at Oceanfront Walk. 2.5 years we held it up at California Coastal Commission. 39,000 gallons of water for recreation while the people suffer. The city of Los Angeles and this commission should be ashamed in these backroom deals that you're doing. Shame. What I want is a date. I want a date when these pipes are fixed because I live in Venice. There's $1.5 million homes at the very moderate 920 square feet being built to massive 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 square feet. And it takes water. The infrastructure is slipping down there and this department has no hesitance to fix the pipes that break there. I enjoy when it smells like crap in Venice because of all those $1 million homes, because it makes it real. It makes it human. We are suffering 1 millisecond of what these people have suffered for all these years. So I'm asking, and I thank you for giving us that window opened and that possibility to fix it. So I'm demanding for a date, because otherwise, sweet woman, nurturance, person who you are, I thank you because it resonates to your spirit. But while you sit here with every drop in front of you and you quench your thirst, give thanks to the water, give thanks to Creator, and especially to the people that are here. Please give us a date.
The next speaker is Kat Hernandez, and after that, Tanya Vizcarra. Kat Hernandez.
She was going to see her time.
I'll take it.
We can go ahead with Tanya Vizcarra.
Hello, my name is Tayana, and I stand before you on Tongva land. Do you know the land you're standing on in LA? You have to know the land that you're standing on. I came here today, I didn't really know the full depth of the issues going on, but as I stood here and sat and listened to the plight of the people and what's going on. I just returned from Standing Rock. I made 2 pilgrimages out there, and I made my last stand, and I paid a big price to be out there. And I'll tell you, it is nothing to be out there, to stand with indigenous people fighting for their rights. And what kills my soul is that this is an issue of extraction and transportation of big corporations, domination, control, and dehumanization, in an ongoing perpetuation of the lie that there is a superiority of peoples in power that rule over the the human element of what it means to be truly, truly human. And it's easy to sit there, smug looks on some of your faces. Smug looks on some of your faces that I have observed, and to dismiss as something that some of you have rolled your eyes as if I've heard that already. Stop talking about the garden. Listen, wake up. We all need to wake up. And you need to find a voice that celebrates humanity, because you can't eat money. You need water and air to breathe. I just left a place where I was fighting to stop a pipeline that transported oil. And now I stand here today to fight for you, to create a pipeline to bring life source water to a people that you are starving out, and you're trying to manipulate them into a position to give up more of what you've already taken. So thank you, my sister, so much, but she's one person that has taken an individual responsibility. What about all the rest of you? And what about this company? When are you going to get it right? Fix it, and fix the rest that are going to happen. And get right with your responsible ethics in how you do your business. Fix it. That's what you need to fix. It's a fundamental root cause, not just this pipe. It's a fundamental root cause. Fix it. Fix your mindset and your heart. I'm ashamed.
Did Kat Hernandez come in? Okay, then the next speaker is Cheyenne Phoenix. Cheyenne Phoenix?
Yate Anatsoy Cheyenne Phoenix and She, Twitter in Shlo Northern Pai Bashin, Nadina Shlachnakai, Akia Shinda Anasha. Manahu, I greeted you in my Navajo and Paiute language. And I come before you as an indigenous activist youth here from Los Angeles. I occupy Tongva land, and it has disturbed me to hear what is going on with my Paiute relatives in the Owens Valley. My relative, Sage Romero, reached out to me, and I came here today to stand up for what is right, to stand on the right side of history, and I ask you all to please stand on the right side of history. I thank you, Ms. Noonan. Thank you for your brave decision to fix the pipe yourself personally. But I ask that the Department of Water and Power also take responsibility and accountability for their wrongdoing. Since 1913, the early 19th century, this Department of Water and Power has taken and desecrated the land there of the Owens Valley. They have taken the water, they made water systems for the reservation there, for the people there. The people weren't allowed to get their water anymore. They were only allowed to certain portions. And as someone who benefits from the stolen land here of the Tongva people, I also ask you to please step up and take responsibility. This is a systematic issue. This has to do with the way one would think of how to run a company. And I ask you, as an indigenous youth who's still here, whose relatives are here, our people are strong people. The system was never in our favor. And I am the result of that broken system, of this damage. And I want my children and my grandchildren to have clean water, and their grandchildren as well. And I ask you to please recognize the water that you're drinking now and give thanks to them too. Okay, thank you.
The next speaker is George Funmaker, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And after that, Ernesto Burbank.
How mi taki ape chante washte na pe chauza pero mini wa kan ate to hamahi dama kota hemacha hunkmi na kingaide hunchi karacha wa unje. I greet all of you in my native language. I come from the Dakota Sioux and the Ho-Chunk Nation. And today I come here and stand in solidarity with my Paiute relatives. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, so I benefit from the water that has been stolen from them. For too many years, the water has been stolen. So today I ask and proclaim that you change your name from the Department of Water and Power to the Department of Stolen Water and Power. And you all should be ashamed of yourself. And I want to thank Noonan for doing that. But you also need to reimburse them for their gas money for traveling here. They shouldn't have to come here. They shouldn't have to. You should have done it. So you need to reimburse their gas money and their time and their travel. So I thank you for doing that. But we are going to hold you accountable too. And look at me when I'm talking to you. Get off your phone. Have some respect for indigenous people for once. I'm talking to you. Look at me when I'm talking to you. We're not gonna take this anymore. You need to fix that pipe, and we're gonna hold you accountable. You're carrying on the legacy of your ancestors of thievery and genocide and murder. So you need to make it right. You're carrying on that legacy. You guys are all immigrants. This is our land, indigenous land, and you need to acknowledge that and respect that. And that's good, you're taking notes. Make sure you make note of that you're an immigrant from this land, and you need to give our water back, the Paiutes, their water. You drink water today, you took a shower today, you flushed the toilet today, you need to thank a Paiute for that. In my language, for a white person, we say wasichu. Wasichu doesn't refer to skin color, but it refers to being greedy. So we don't want you to be greedy anymore. We want to teach you about generosity and humility and compassion. So that's what we're trying to teach you here today. So thank you for your time. Mitau kese.
The next speaker is Ernesto Burbank.
My name is Ernesto Burbank, the Net Tribe. I stand with the Paiute tribe. I just came from the battle out there that's been going on in Standing Rock. Literally just came here. And I appreciate your words, Christine. You know, it takes a lot to speak up in front of a board like that. We've been lied to, you know, we've been painted. A lot of things we're not. And one of the most common things that's going on that you guys should be aware of is the water issue. There's contamination of water going on and all these pipelines going on, you know, and we're standing, like he said, you know, we're done. You guys are gonna have to take responsibility. You guys are gonna have to, somebody has to take responsibility for everything that's been going on. You're pushing us to extinction. So when you nod your head like that, you know it's true. Because the billions of people that's going to be affected by that oil leak, the water that's not being repaired out here, what are the children going to drink? What are the children going to play in? What are the children? How are they going to save this earth? How are they going to turn it green the way you guys preach? You guys have the answers. You guys have the powers. If you guys don't want to do it, we will stand. And that's just the plain truth. Because we love each and every single one of you guys. You guys are our relatives. So it is our job to stand up for your children. Because we love them that much. We want to see your children and our children play and enjoy the amenities of water. Aho.
Okay, this is the last call for Kat Hernandez. If not, we will, if someone's already spoken, we can't let them have more time. But we do have speakers from Inyo Valley who have not spoken yet.
Can I speak before you speak?
What?
Can I speak before they speak?
Yeah.
I'm Raymond Joseph Garcia. I'm from Kern River.
Speak,
we got problems there with water too. They've taken it all from us.
Raymond, speak into the mic, please.
My name is Raymond Joseph Garcia. I'm from what they call the Kern River Valley, along the South Fork River. These are my cousins. These are Owens Valley Paiute Shoshones. I'm Shoshone Tabalabo. You can see I'm Irish too, huh? We're good-looking people. We're the two lovable ones. And we want to show love to everywhere we go. You know, and there's no life along my river. They're taking the water and it's dry. And we have the longest grove of cottonwood trees in the United States, as far as I understand. And it's no coyotes, no foxes, no raccoons, no deer, no bear, nothing out there. When I was out there when a kid, we swam that river all the time. I go up to the Owens Valley and I listened to what my grandpa said. I said, I don't see that. I don't see all the greenery. He said it was full of water when he was a little guy. He said there was lights that floated across the sky. Well, with all the water gone, those lights aren't there. I don't know what they was. Maybe they was good spirits. And I reckon that folks killed them, or took away their ability to to move around, just like the animals. It's a human thing. We're all in this together. You guys took, your ancestors took, and now you guys continue the legacy of taking without listening. I ask you that you listen. I heard some good words here today. I love this guy. He might be a little bit militant, but man, I'll stand behind him 100% all the way. Whatever he says to do, I'm right there. I heard some of these other guys speak with love and peace. I want to be peaceful. I'm full of love. I'll help in any kind of way, but I'm not really. I'm mixed. I think violence works. Sometimes it needs to be, And I'm not talking about getting violence with you. My fourth great grandfather, Thomas Jefferson Spratt, of the Grapevine Canyon, he stopped a bunch of people from blowing up that pipeline, And I stand here today. I wish I could blow it up, but I'm not gonna. Don't. I'll plead innocent to all charges. But I'm telling you guys, the heart is there. A lot of people are a little frustrated, angry, don't know what to say, don't know how to say it. We're all here together, and we're asking you to listen to us as human beings. We're human beings. The same Creator created us too, and you have the responsibility. You took the responsibility from us to take care of the water, to protect the water, and all the ones who don't have voices to come up and stand and talk to you about what's going on. You took the responsibility. So please act like you have it and you understand what it means. That's all I got to say.
Okay, we're going to take our first speaker from up in Inyo.
Well, one moment. Thank you all very much. This has been very helpful, and we appreciate it. We're going to turn to the speakers from Bishop, but first, Commissioner Barad has a comment.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to speak to all of you who have spoken today and to those who are in Bishop. And I want you to know that we have heard you. And I certainly appreciate that you have spoken from your hearts and told us about your suffering and your needs for your families. And as a mother of 3 children, I understand what you're saying. But I want you to know that I take my position as a member of this board very seriously. And it's a responsibility and an honor to serve on this board. And I want you to know, every one of you, that I commit my energy and my passion to work with this board and this department to work out a solution so we will fix the pipe. And I appreciate you're all taking the time to come here. And I want you to know that we've really heard you, and we've heard from your hearts. I'm looking at you as a mother to mother, yes? And I know what you're talking about. So please feel better about things and know that we really want to do what's best. And we really I'm speaking to you not only as a board member, but as a human being. And that yes, and we all need each other. And we're all in this together. And I have so much respect for you. And thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Commissioner Noonan.
Commissioner Barad, I really, really greatly appreciate your reinforcement. Again, I take this personally in that I have spent a lot of time with this community, and I know that the frustration and anger that has been voiced cannot be repaired overnight. And so I hope that long term we can have a much more positive relationship. I love some of the commentary that I heard, and I mean, your children are my children are your children. And just so you know, I didn't say it superficially. I actually asked how much it would cost to repair the pipe. And again, without going into any kind of legalities, it would be my honor to repair this pipe. But what I think is more important is that we work collectively as communities to empower one another and our families. That being said, I'm going to pass along a check that should be good, open, to fix the pipe, and I would request that the department fix the pipe as soon as possible without any legal.
Thank you, Commissioner Noonan. Thank you, Commissioner Barad. And with that, we will call on the speakers from Bishop.
Okay, the first speaker from Bishop is Jill Payton, and after that, Sally Menny.
Actually, I was going to...
Good. I don't know if it's afternoon or morning. I don't have a clock in front of me. We've been here a while. My name is Jill Payton. I'm tribal administrator for the Big Pine Paiute tribe. As Paul Hewitt said earlier, the Big Pine tribe of the Owens Valley's tribal leaders respectfully requested of the commissioners a government-to-government meeting to discuss the irrigation line issues and to find a positive way to move forward. The commission then directed LADWP staff to initiate all communication with the tribe regarding a resolution to the irrigation line issue. The tribe continues to hear from DWP staff as they state that they are close to an agreement with the tribe regarding repair of the irrigation trunk line. We feel that this is a subterfuge. After the commission gave a directive to Richard Harrisick to conduct the meeting in November 2015 between the LADWP staff and tribal leaders and their staff, the tribe was told by LADWP staff that they wanted to find a resolution to the situation with the irrigation trunk line. James Yanata, aqueduct manager, stated they would fix the line, but there would be some conditions attached. One of those was that after the pipe was repaired or replaced, the tribe would take ownership and full maintenance and repair responsibility for the trunk line. A primary point he stressed was that the best solution to this would be for the tribe to be given a 30-year license agreement allowing access to fulfill the ownership and maintenance conditions of the pipeline. He said that a 30-year license differed from either an easement, a lease, or a purchase of the land, and that as staff he could initiate and complete the license agreement without it having to go through the process of review and approval by the Board of Water and Power Commissioners and the Los Angeles City Council. Mr. Yanata then sent an informal email to the tribe outlining the conditions that were discussed, although he did indicate that there would be a more formal document created after review by City Legal Counsel. When the tribe finally received the formal LOU, several of the terms differed significantly from the verbal discussion of November 15th. It now stated that the 30-year license agreement had to go through the approval process to the commissioners and to the City Council. We all know how long that can take, yet LADWP wants the tribe to sign an agreement without a guarantee that they can access the pipeline. Bait and switch is what this is called. Irrigation season starts in 2 weeks. LADWP has an obligation to deliver this water to the Big Pine Paiute tribe per the 1939 Land Exchange Agreement. Honor that agreement and respect the tribal leaders by convening a government-to-government conversation with the Big Pine tribal leaders and fix the pipe. Thank you.
The next speaker is Sally Manning, and after that, Danielle Bocho Gutierrez.
Good morning. My name is Sally Manning. I'm the Environmental Director for the Big Pine Paiute Tribe. I have the honor and privilege of working with the tribe and serving them, and I wanted to just tell you that I've been in on the staff level negotiations on this pipeline since the beginning. I've worked for the tribe since 2009, and this did start with an offer from the tribe to actually come up with some funds to help clean the irrigation pipe. That led to a letter of permission from the staff at DWP that had so many constraints in it that it didn't make it possible for the tribe to proceed with cleaning the pipe, so that when water did begin flowing through the pipe was so dilapidated that it crumbled, and now there's no pipe to clean because it is so dilapidated. I wanted to, at the same time that we made this offer to clean the pipe, we also requested that LADWP put on staff a tribal liaison, someone to intervene between, say, your Board of Water and Power Commissioners and the tribal leadership to understand these issues and work out solutions ahead of time so that we all don't have to drive to LA and spend hours of your time doing the same thing that could be done behind the, with the staff level. So I would like to reiterate that request. Hopefully, if the Commissioner Noonan comes through and the pipe gets fixed, it'll probably last another 100 years or more, and we can move on to consultation on other important issues that we have as neighbors. Thank you.
The next speaker is Danielle Bocho Gutierrez, and after that, Cheyenne Stone.
Manahu, Ineniene, Danelle Baycock, Gutierrez, Tovo Bahamatu, Paya Hunudu, Wanu Kimadu. I'm also the Big Pine Paiute Tribe's Tribal Historic Preservation Officer, and I'm a tribal member, and we utilize our irrigation. The water that comes down through the irrigation, it produced a traditional garden in my area behind my house, one that I'm proud of. Now this morning I walked back there, the other week, and I was walking back there. It's dry. There's nothing going. Other leaseholders got notification, which I was contacted because I have to monitor the lands and where they're going to clean the ditches, that they're to be prepared for water to be their lands. The 1939 Land Exchange Agreement states that nobody is supposed to receive irrigation before the tribes. That's part of the agreement. What frustrates me, and I think the ladies on commissioners that spoke, requesting the pipeline to get fixed, but it's more to it than what you're saying. What we want is DWP to honor our agreement that was made in 1939 by our ancestors that were included. This is an agreement that needs to be honored. We don't want to hear these letters coming in saying we have to have letters of permission, letters of understanding, which DWP is trying to force our tribe to sign in agreements, trying to take our sovereignty away. That's not how we're working. We want our agreement to be honored like it should be. I have kids. I'm going to have future grandkids and future great-grandkids and so forth. And that's where I'm speaking today. Because if you guys go back on this agreement and you guys don't honor it and try to come up with other letters of understanding, permission, letter of permission for something that's created by Creator, God, that's coming from the mountains that we prayed and sang songs for so we can have snow, so we can have the rains. You know what? Prayers are very important in our people, our traditional ways, and they're answered. How do you think all the snow and the rain came forth? We have rain dance ceremonies. We have water ceremonies. We have everything specific for this earth that was created, and we honor that. We speak for the plants, the trees, the wildlife, the fish,
The creek that's right next to me, I got fish in there. What's going to happen? What's going to happen to our lands? It's already getting sucked up by another project, by DWP, by the regreening project that's north of Big Pine. That water table is getting affected. The water table that goes on our reservation is getting affected by that regreening project, and there's nothing growing out there but weeds. Nothing. It's just a visual sight, so when people go by, tourists, they're going to say, oh no, Owens Valley is green, look at this. No, it's not. You go on the outskirts, on the other side of that highway, you're going to see dryness, you're going to see drought, but you know what? It's man-made drought. This water, our water, that is supposed to serve our people in our Owens Valley, Payahunadu, that you guys call Owens Valley, it's there for everybody. Natives, non-natives, everybody. Every creation that Creator created, everything, living thing, plants, everything. That's who it's supposed to service, not be piped down. You know, and I'm glad that we are helping out in certain ways, but don't take everything where it kills where the main source is coming out of. That's what's happening. Honor the agreement. That's what I request for my past ancestors, and my future generations. Do the right thing. No more letters of permits or little side swindling agreements or anything. No, stick with what you got to stick with and honor that. Be right. And I thank you ladies for offering that, but no, I want DWP to do the right thing. I don't want no side handlings or nothing. I want agreements and I want action with a timeline. Thank you. Mano.
The next speaker is Cheyenne Stone, and after that, Ian Bell.
Good afternoon, commissioners. What's quite funny is we're on the opposite side of history. About 69 years ago, there was a Senate Interim Committee on California Indian Affairs, which included our Senator Brown and Way, as well as Para S.L., who was the engineer for the Department of Water and Power for the city of Los Angeles. And he wrote a letter on behalf of the city of Los Angeles, as well as the Department of Water and Power. In the letter, what was interesting is on the testimony in the letter that he gave, as well as some of the documents, he asked for consideration over your guys' main concern that the water rights proposition, as you know, the trade was made, you guys reserved some of the water rights. But we agreed that you guys, both parties and all parties involved in the agreement, would deliver 5,565.92 acre feet of water per annum. And that exchange was trying to put all the Indians throughout the Owens Valley on both Bishop, Big Pine, and Lone Pine reservations, because you guys were afraid that we would contaminate and irrigate the water here locally, and you wanted to ensure your city had water down there. So I found that's quite interesting, because we're on the opposite side of history, because at that time you guys are listening to us. Now at that time my great grandpa Tom Stone was listening to your guys' pleading over your same water issues that we're encountering now. So just to initiate what my fellow people have also stated, we not only use the water, we're not asking for a big legal document. We're not asking to go back and rewrite some of the history. I know for a fact that a lot of agreement that we do have in there has yet to be fulfilled, and hopefully we have potential lawyers and activists on our part that one day will be able to come to rightfully inheriting what was part of the agreement. But for now, we're asking just to fix the pipe. It's not much. You know, we're a reservation that's very high in poverty. You know, as Sally mentioned, she did propose a simple solution to come and fix it, and fundraising money for it, but then we got stuck with a bunch of stipulations. And I know that Christina Noonan, you mentioned that the facts that you've seen are quite different. However, the facts that we've seen in the historical documents do play out that you guys do have a health responsibility to at least ensure that the water is meeting the reservation requirements, because not only that, the roads, the irrigation and domestic water lines were part of that original agreement in order for you guys to put the Indians on these land tracts. So just to conclude here, I would just hope that you guys understand that you guys have the privilege of going to church. In our area, we rely on the materials and the water to feed the materials in order to build our musa, our sweat lodge, for our praying place. When we don't receive our rightful water, we don't have our plants, we don't have our indigenous medicines that we utilize in a sweat lodge in order to, pray, So I would hope that you guys would consider fixing the pipe. Talk is cheap, action's necessary. We want to keep it simple as possible, and I thank you for your time.
The next speaker is Ian Bell, and after that, Daniel Pritchett.
Hi, good morning. My name is Ian Bell. I'm an environmental specialist with the Owens Valley Indian Water Commission here in Bishop, and I'd like to strongly advocate that LADWP fix the broken irrigation pipeline immediately. The organization I work for has monitored the groundwater levels on the Big Pine Reservation since 1999. Depth to groundwater on this reservation is 60, 80, sometimes over 100 feet depth to water. Having groundwater at this depth means that trees, shrubs, and native plants on the Big Pine Reservation cannot rely on their roots to be able to hit groundwater to survive. So these plants need irrigation water this year in order to survive, especially considering that they didn't get water last year. In my opinion, this is an environmental justice failure on the part of LADWP. The people of the Big Pine Reservation need this water to keep the reservation alive and prosperous. They have tomatoes to grow in their community garden, pastures to water, trees and greenery to keep alive. This water is essential to the health and well-being of the entire tribal community in Big Pine. In my mind, using the health and well-being of an entire tribal community as a bargaining chip is wrong. In 1939, DWP legally committed to deliver this water in perpetuity, and LADWP needs to be true to their agreement in 2017. Irrigation season starts April 1, which is in 11 days. Commissioners Barad and Noonan have personally committed to finding an immediate solution to this problem, and I ask that Mr. President and Vice President of the Board also personally commit to finding a solution by April 1st so that water can flow. Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Daniel Pritchett, and after that, Darius Moxley.
My name is Daniel Pritchett. I'm a resident of Bishop. I'm not a member of the Big Pine Tribe. First comment, I'd like to emphasize what Terry Red Owl said. This is extortion. You've dried up the reservation and you're trying to extract concessions, and it's outrageous. Second comment, while Commissioner Noonan's offer was generous and I'm sure very well-meaning, it doesn't really accomplish anything until they get the backhoe out there and the work is done. I would challenge you to make DWP give us a date. Make it them commit publicly to getting the work done by the beginning of irrigation season. Just saying, oh, I'll write a check doesn't solve the underlying problem, which is basically the management culture at DWP, which views extortion as a legitimate practice. Harry Williams started to list some of the abuses that DWP has done, and he was correct. I can list many more if there were more than 2 minutes. And the only way, I think, to keep this problem from happening again and again, because it goes on all the time, this kind of extortion, is to hold DWP management accountable. I think someone should be fired over this. This should have been an easy fix, and they've gone on for almost 3 years at this point. And I finally want to remind Commissioner Noonan something that she once stated several years ago at a standing committee meeting. She said, I only know what's in my briefing book. And I'm sure she was telling the truth. And that is the problem in a nutshell. As long as you and the Board of Water and Power Commissioners let DWP control the flow of information, you will never be able to hold them accountable because they will never give you a full picture of what's going on. You've got to listen to people in the valley as well as DWP. Thank you for considering my comments.
Commissioner Noonan.
Thank you. For the record, I do not recall making that statement. And during the 7 years that I've served as the commissioner for this board, I have been incredibly proactive in reaching out to communities, not only in Inyo County, but with upon hundreds of entities within Los Angeles, whether it deals with equity metrics, whether it deals with the farmers in Inyo. And so I do take insult to the fact that you would suggest that I simply rely on information that's provided to me, because I take this role much more seriously than that. And I think that my gesture today shows that.
Okay, the next speaker is Darius Moxley, and after that, Francis Hart.
Darius Moxley from Bishop. I'd just like to encourage the Big Pine Tribe to let them know that make LADWP abide by the original 1939 document. If you let them make another new document, they'll just find some reason to try and change it later. Just like LADWP is trying to manipulate the long-term water agreement between LA and Inyo County. Stand strong, stay united, and remember our Owens Valley needs its water. No new wells in Owens Valley. Fix the pipe in Big Pine. Get the backhoes out there.
The next speaker is Francis Hunt, and after that, Yancy McIver.
Thank you. I am Fran Hunt. I'm the Eastern Sierra organizer for the Sierra Club here in Inyo County. And I came here today because I wanted to support and stand in solidarity with the Big Pine Tribe. I came to urge DWP to honor its agreements to provide water to the tribe, to tribal families. I was really glad to hear a generous offer made to pay for the pipe. But now what is clearly needed is a public binding affirmation from DWP that this will happen immediately. You've heard how tight we are for the irrigation season, so things need to happen now. Because it's past time for DWP to fulfill its legal and moral obligations to provide this much needed water. You can see us today, we can't see you. But I was really relieved to hear two commissioners were troubled, as I was, and perhaps even as embarrassed as I am as a human being, to have to hear my valley neighbors beg to receive water for their families and children, beg to receive this water without extortionary strings attached. A generous offer of funds has been made. Now it's time for DWP to act, to publicly affirm a date by which this pipe will be fixed and the water restored. Thank you.
The next speaker is Yancy McIver, and after that, Violet Cortez.
It's actually Yaney McIver, the streets. My ancestors came here as immigrants to the valley, a valley that was Eden before they came and has been further desiccated by the actions of LA. Not for the greater good, I don't think. We created car culture in LA, and now we have global warming. So, I am asking you, commissioners of the DWP, to be heroes and to reverse this process of lesser good. You can plant the 5 trees that you want in LA, but our trees are dying up here, and we're creating global warming with the lack of greenery that we need in what used to be Eden. Please reverse this, fix the pipe, and let's get into some constructive dialogue about how we are going to go forward in regreening this valley and having LA use its water that it gets. You get 3 times the rainfall that we do, and that way we all win. Let us all be heroes. You can dry up the lake and put an art display up there, but that is not right. And whatever state of emergency, I don't know, we've been in a state of emergency since 1913, if not before, when my ancestors came here and put cattle on Eden and destroyed it. Let us create Eden again, and you guys, it's time for you to pledge. You can do it. Thank you.
The next speaker is Violet Cortez, and after that, Brian Atkins.
Manahu, Inaniene Violet Dewey Cortez. And
my hat's off to the commissioners with their 7 years of dedication. My dedication is over 50. I won't tell you how much over 50, but over 50. And my dedication to my land is Indians don't litter, you know, we are trying to take care of be respectful of the water, be respectful and live in harmony with the animals. And that's why Owens Valley is here today. Because the Owens Valley Paiutes cultural base is the water people. Paiute means people of the water. We have watched over this valley for many, many years, and I watched all my ancestors, my grandpas and brothers all irrigate this place so we could have food and we could have water. And as we grow these greeneries, it provides water to the clouds. So our ancestors taught our behaviors not to take more than you can use. And that's why we're okay today, is because we can offer something to our children in the future. And my last comment is my sign. I made this wonderful, beautiful sign, and I put it over the emblem on this speaking table because we are human beings, and none of our decisions should ever supersede human being rights. Corporations need to cater to the people because that's why they're here, to benefit the people. Aho.
The next speaker is Brian Atkins, and after that, Chris Honeg.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Brian Atkins. I'm the Environmental Director of the Bishop Paiute Tribe. I've worked for the tribe for about 18 years. I've been privileged to serve their community. Bishop Tribe is a federally recognized tribal government, also under the 309 Land Exchange. And on behalf of the tribal EPA, our office, and the Bishop Tribe, we pledge our support to the Big Pine community to request that the entire the capability of delivering water, irrigation water to the tribe be fully implemented before irrigation season starts. The tribal chairman, Destin Rogers, has signed a letter of support for the tribe, and just wanted to pass that along. Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker is Chris Honeg, and after that, Kendra Alwork.
Manahu. My name is Chris Hohag. I'm a member of the Bishop Paiute Tribe, and today I stand before you as a correspondent with Indian Country Today Media Network, and we're going to be doing a series on Indian water in California. So along with a few comments, I have some questions for the commissioners, if you'd be so kind to respond. First off, I want to thank the commissioners Noonan and Barad for your hands in support of Big Pine's particular issue with the pipe, yet the larger issue does remain. And I speak to you from the Owens Valley today in Bishop at your office of Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. In this land here where the LADWP trucks roam the land and waters like an occupying force, for the past 100 years nobody has held you guys accountable. And the land and the people of this land have suffered, as you've heard very eloquently and impassioned today from our people, both down there in front of you and here. Today the valley flows with abundant snow melt. The spring runoff is just beginning, and you are already planning to use the Owens Valley for 85% of your water needs this year. You are storing water and maximizing water flow. All the while, you have been starving Big Pine of their water for 2 years. Storing water underground and protecting endangered species while withholding water to indigenous Paiutes and in drought with federally recognized but currently unsettled water rights. We just want to explain to you what's been going on in case you haven't been aware. The questions I have is, when can the tribe expect the pipe to be fixed with respect to the offer by the commissioners? That was very kind. Thank you for wanting to go above and beyond the bureaucracy of your entity, but I think the people do deserve some accountability on when that will get done. Will you compensate the tribe and their families for their losses over the past several years? Is that something you will entertain? They've even outlined how much monetary value that water is worth to you guys in the expenses that you charge your ratepayers in LA. It was over $1.2 million, I believe. Will you have a written statement on repairs to come for the tribe? Does the LADWP consider itself above the supreme law of the land, which recognizes indigenous water rights? And we remind you that we do have water rights, which are unequivocally human rights. And if the city and the commissioners need a reminder, the city of LA was party to the creation of 3 Owens Valley reservations, Bishop, Big Pine, and Lone Pine, and along with the federal government. And so that means you guys have a responsibility to us. And so now we're holding you accountable, and we'll continue to do so. So we thank you for your cooperation during this time. The pipe is a small thing for LADWP, but it's a huge thing for the Big Pine community and the Owens Valley in general, and the people who call this place home. And we want to remind you that we are more than a resource colony for the city of LA. We are the rightful protectors of the water and land here in the Eastern Sierra. We are the original people here, and in case you forgot, we are still here, and I hope you realize that today by looking around you. And we deserve respect. And thank you for your time.
The next speaker is Kendra at Leework, and after that, Nantez Jackson.
I'm Kendra Atlework. I'm a writer and historical researcher born and raised in Owens Valley. And I'm here in solidarity with the Big Pine Tribe to emphasize that people all over California and the country are watching how the city handles water in this valley now more than ever. In ongoing negotiations, the city of Los Angeles must take responsibility for a fraught and often horrendous history. We need institutions like DWP to step up and right wrongs that a private citizen has had to offer to amend today. These are minimal reparations compared to the atrocities that have been committed in this valley. DWP learn from the past, learn from the people in these rooms, honor the 1939 land exchange agreement, and finally change the cycle.
The next speaker is Nantez Jackson.
Good morning. How you guys doing? My name's Nantez Jackson. I'm from Hoopa, California, from the Natinaway Nation. That's the Hoopa Valley Tribe. I'm down here in Owens Valley with my family and my relatives. I'm making a statement today to let you guys know that the Hoopa Valley Tribe and our people up in Northern California who's been fighting for our own water issues with the farmers of Central California, and yes, some of our water does go to LA even, you know, that we are not going to allow this to happen no more. We don't ask for respect. We are taking our own respect back as Native people, you know. So though I'm very concerned with the remark, we can't see you guys, the board, but I heard one speaker speak that some of you are so disrespectful to roll your eyes or to make a frown or whatever that is. You know, I pray for you. I pray for you to learn how to care for yourself first, to truly know what love and humanity really is. This is what my prayers are for. This is why I'm up here speaking. For whoever disrespected yourself by doing that, I humbly and ask Creator to have mercy on you and to show you what love truly is. You know, because every human being deserves to feel love for what it truly is. And since these indigenous lands have been taken by colonization and the systematic ways that was thrust upon my people and our people here, you know, you guys have a lot to learn. You have a lot to learn because your system has been proven to being death. It's death to all the oppressed. You know, so learn. And I ask that you listen to the words you heard today. Not just hear them. Don't hear them. To listen. Take the action upon hearing. And follow your heart and follow your spirit, because that's what's going to yearn out today, because that's what indigenous prayers do. It's the indigenous prayers going up in this world today that has brought and held on to what little bit of left of Mother Earth's nature, her humbleness. It's our indigenous prayers that's holding it strong. And we stand here and we get smacked in the face over and over and over, but yet we love. We know how it feels. And so we naturally let it radiate in our prayers and who we are as human beings. You see, so I'm thankful for your ears. I'm thankful that one of you, the lady that's going to fix the pipe, my other concern was here. And thank you for that offer. That's pretty cool to hear. But it brings greater concerns to me that you know so much information about LAWDP. You know that they don't want to fix that pipe, that you're going to downright do it yourself now. What kind of organization is this? Let's be real. How dirty is it? Be a whistleblower.
Okay, that was the last speaker card.
Yes.
That was the last speaker card.
All right, thank you. May I have a moment? Okay, thank you, President Levine. For the last gentleman that spoke, I have taken great pride in being part of the Department of Water and Power for Los Angeles. If I had any ill feelings relating to decisions that I personally have made, I would not do this. I do this on my own time. I do not get paid for this position. It takes time away from my family, from my professional career. So every year that I have been involved in this organization, I've tried to make the best decisions. I feel that what transpired truly has been a matter of miscommunication. And as a mother, I offered to provide a Band-Aid approach, because I know this is much greater than just fixing the pipe. But as a mother listening to other mothers in the audience, I want your children to have the water that they need to bathe, to eat as soon as possible. And so I did not do this because I did not feel that the department finally would come to some resolution with your community, because I'm positive that we would. I think that there's been a lot of miscommunication. But as a mother and as an individual citizen, I've offered to make this charitable contribution on my own accord.
I'd like to say something. When Mayor Garcetti put us on the board, appointed us to this board less than 4 years ago, he put us on as the reform commissioners. And my heart goes out to each and every one of you. And I own if there was any disrespect, because my people have been disrespected. And you know what I mean. My own sad face up here, for those commissioners who know me, is a face of compassion. This commission, when we first were appointed, was charged with trying to right the wrongs of the past in the Owens Valley. And we righted some of those wrongs. We put together an agreement after the previous management, for whatever reasons, largely political, had fought tooth and nail. You can call it blackmail, you can call it whatever, you can call it very difficult words that legal counsel would probably say that I shouldn't use. But it was the powerful over the powerless. It was the outsider over the insider. I spent my time, went up to the Owens Valley probably 40 different times, and passed the Manzanar Valley dedication that Chairman Levine, for those of you who don't know, was the original co-sponsor of in the House of Representatives in the 1980s, to recognize the injustice that had been brought by the Japanese internment. This is a commission that will listen to the needs of all ratepayers, not just some of the ratepayers.
when we reached the Owens Valley Agreement with the Great Basin, not the long-term water agreement, this is a separate agreement, the air agreement, that was a landmark deal to conserve water and preserve water, to mitigate the dust. I read the books. I read about Fred Eaton. I read about J.B. Lippincott. You know those people. I'm not proud of what they did. And part of that agreement was also to preserve the cultural resources of the valley and the habitat. And that's being implemented. So I will. I don't have a check to write. I'm not one of the more affluent commissioners, but I am somebody who puts their heart and soul into representing and speaking up for the people who don't have a voice here. If you read the Equity Metrics Data Initiative, then you would know what this commission and this board is about. So you have a board that's ready and willing to move. I am sorry that it has taken this much work and time and resources for you to have to come down here to make us aware of this. We will be working with ourselves first to give a unified message to our staff as to what needs to be done. I have no doubt, and I can't speak for the other commissioners, but I have no doubt that there will be action. And I encourage you not just to show up for crises, okay? Keep on showing up and you will be listened to. Keep on showing up and you will be heard, because we heard your message loud and clear. We will make sure that there's equity for all ratepayers, and many of you who testified probably are ratepayers, because we provide electricity and water in the Owens Valley. The Equity Metrics Data Initiative was for the ratepayers. It wasn't just for the citizens of Los Angeles. And so I encourage you to read the Equity Metrics Data Initiative. Equity. Equity isn't equality. Equity is about remediating and making sure that the past is somehow taken care of, so that those who have been left out and forgotten are taken into consideration. So I appreciate everyone who's come down here, and I think that this board will be acting, but make sure that you understand when it comes to leveling personal concerns about this board. Don't do that unless you know who we are. Let me tell you, my ancestors, Black Cherokee. My ancestors, slave. My ancestors, slave holders. Okay? You think you feel left out? I'm a mutt left out. And we haven't forgotten ourselves. I haven't forgotten where I came from. I haven't forgotten where my ancestors came from. And that this board won't forget where you came from. So thank you again for the testimony, and we will take it into consideration.
Commissioner Levine, we do have one more speaker card that's being faxed from Inyo.
Okay, let's hear from the additional speaker.
Okay, it's Everett Bowman.
Manahu, Inani Ane, Everett Bowman, former LADWP employee and worker, and I just wanted to let you know that right now, current update is we're having rain right now. Water is life, and it's all around us. And you know what? It sounds great. It sounds really great that this woman has offered to do this, and this man too, and I'm sure your tears are genuine. I can't see those right now, and I'm sorry. It boggles me that you guys are a power entity. You have so much power and money that you guys can't even get your stuff working, your technicality, so we can't see your tears, so we don't know it. As far as snickering and stuff like that, I can see this young lady here doing that. She's doing it here, and you can't see it. Laughing and laughter, and you know what? These other people are here for seriousness, and it is serious. And we don't come here to fight with you. We came to pray that you will try to do what is right. And why do you hide behind these women who have to take out of their own pocket? You guys are powerhouse. You have all this money. And I know it to be true because I've worked for you before. And I know you have a lot of people on staff. You even have an officer in here that you've paid to bring in here. So what is it? And I know you guys go on the honor system when you guys write in what you guys are doing. So if you guys aren't even willing to do work and go and fix this pipeline, I can understand why. It's because you guys are not honoring your own honor systems. You need to honor what you guys have written. We need to get this together and work this out in a good way. Because you know what? There's ranchers and there are non-native people here too who have a respect for this valley, and I have a respect for them. And I don't do this for publicity. I only came on just to let you guys know that this is my valley too, and we love LA. I'm a West Coast person for life, and I love Dakota people. And thank you for the young man that spoke and said that he's been using our resources, because you all have, and that's okay. But just give us our right to do what we need to do before any type of ratepayers. You talk about ratepayers. We're the first original people here. We shouldn't be paying rates. We shouldn't be having to do things just to get hunting and fishing. That's all I want. And I don't want to have to sign nothing to do that. In fact, cash out my pension. I'm ready to go.
I'm going to take the liberty of making a few what I think will be concluding comments. First of all, this has been an extremely helpful and moving hearing. As you've heard from my three colleagues, we've all heard you. You've been, as one of the speakers in Bishop appropriately said, both eloquent and inspired. You have been, and we have heard you. I do believe that in a couple of instances, if I do say so myself, you've been a little bit harsh on our staff. I've served on this board now for 3.5 years. I've worked very closely with an exceptionally dedicated staff. They don't always reach agreement instantly or even over a period of time with the people they're dealing with, but they act in good faith. They work enormously hard, whether they're here or whether they're in the Owens Valley. I want to say a word on their behalf. They are definitely doing what they believe is right and what they believe is in the interests of all of us. And I think the comments about them have been somewhat unfair. Beyond that, I also share the comments of each of my three colleagues that we want to make sure that this is that we work cooperatively. We all respect you greatly. We admire you for many reasons, and we are determined to ensure that a just resolution is reached. We thank you very, very much for coming, those of you who took the long trek. And I'm confident that a fair solution will be achieved. So with that, I'm prepared to move on to the next agenda item, and I thank you all very, very much for being here. Okay, we move to item...
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Mama. Give us a date. Give us a date.
See you soon. Thanks, Mary. Very moving.
Very important.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. It's true. They need to.
Anything else?
Well, I didn't get into this because I didn't want to one up more victimhood.
No, this can wait a while.
Some of them and Latin else.
We'll move to item 3, General Manager Report.
Nothing to report today.
Comments from commissioners? Comments from ratepayer advocate?
No comments now, but I'll have...
Speak into the mic, Mr. Ratepayer Advocate, so we can hear you.
I'm trying. There we go.
Okay.
I'll have short comments on items 12, 7B, 13, 15,
Well,
and
I think we're going to postpone 7B, just FYI, but 12, 7B, 13?
15, and 19.
Okay. Okay, item 6, fiscal year 17-18 preliminary budget.
So this is the preliminary budget that will go to the city. We still have a lot of work between now and the final budget, which will be submitted to the board sometime in May. Neil Guglielmo and staff will have a short presentation on the preliminary budget. And it is, I think, as identified, item 12 that'll be approved today.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Neil Guglielmo with the Financial Services Organization. What we have before you today is the preliminary budget for fiscal year 17-18. We'll be asking for your approval just to transmit the preliminary budget over to the Mayor and the City Council in accordance with the Charter. We'll be coming back to you in May for the approval of the final budget for fiscal year 17-18. So, just our slides, we're going to cover budget status, some accomplishments in both the water and power systems, the development cycle for the 17-18 budget, key expenditure plans, some staffing and timeline, and there's additional information in the appendix if you like. So the budget status. The goal of the budget was to create a plan that's consistent with the Department's strategic plan and in accordance with the Mayor's directives as well. The Mayor establishes a budget policy every fiscal year. His direction to departments this year was to maximize resources, prioritize the needs of our residents, and strive for greater effectiveness and efficiencies. This budget continues to emphasize cost control and fiscal discipline across each of the programs. Let me know if I need to speak up louder or if can you guys all hear me? Okay.
I can't hear you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think,
I can't hear you.
see if they can move somewhere else or calm down a little bit.
So we're going to turn to the power system accomplishments. I'll turn it over to Andy Kendall.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. So in the last few years, we've made major strides in our initiatives. Local solar, between our solar rebates, feed-in tariff, approximately 220 megawatts to date. We've installed over 2,000 chargers within the city. Our Springbok solar plants, 1 and 2, and our Beacon Solar 2 phases are online, totaling 375 megawatts of solar coming in from outside the city. Within the city itself, we've doubled our investment in energy efficiency programs. With lighting retrofits and Other energy solutions, we've reduced our energy use by 412 gigabyte hours from the 15-16 fiscal year. And then in our local infrastructure, we've replaced over 2,700 transformers and also replaced over 4,000 poles, and we'll continue to do that in this current fiscal year and future fiscal years.
Great, thank you, Andy. Moving into water system accomplishments. Richard Harisick, I think, has probably stepped out for a moment, so if you like, I can go over the slides really briefly. Installing new earthquake-resistant ductile pipe. The main line replacement goal was exceeded for 2016 with nearly 170,000 feet, and we're on target to reach the current goals for the current fiscal year 16-17 of roughly 185,000 feet.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I think that's a good suggestion. Why don't we go into closed session, and then we can deal with all of these items later. Unless this signals the end, which it might. Go ahead. Okay. I withdraw my suggestion, at least for the moment.
All right, so we'll continue on. The water distribution trunk line construction, working in coordination. You can see here their construction work at the LA filtration plant. And then water supply and sustainability. LADP broke ground on the Tahunga spreading grounds, a large stormwater capture project. We're on page 7 of the presentation. No problem. For groundwater, continued to plan and secure funding for the San Fernando groundwater basin remediation efforts. Conservation reduced residential water use in gallons per capita per day from 106 to 104. Across the board, we've seen significant conservation, actually not just from single-family residential customers, but our multifamily and commercial customers as well have been reducing their water consumption. Added new customers and projects to increase recycled water deliveries as well. Moving on, for the development of the budget, our focus has been, as it has been for the rate action as well, on customers' mandates and reliability. The budget that's prepared in the preliminary stages right now for you supports continued investment in our water and power capital infrastructure, accelerating reliability and dealing with replacement cycles of critical infrastructure, complies with regulatory mandates, supports the LADP Customer Bill of Rights and the commitment to prompt, consistent, and easily accessible customer service, and again maintains our critical financial metrics and preserves our low cost of borrowing. This is just the key expenditure plan summary covering the operating expenses, see transfer, debt service, increase in fund net assets, and the revenue requirement. The columns there portrayed are the 15-16 actuals, the last completed fiscal year, our current year approved budget, the estimated expenditures for this fiscal year, and then the 17-18 proposed for the preliminary budget, totaling 1.59 on the capital investments, revenue requirement 3.8 billion. Looking at the financial category summary, just gives you a brief description of each of the categories: power system reliability, infrastructure, operating support, and so forth. Going to our first graphic slide, the capital expenditures trend. What's portrayed for you in the orange is the power system reliability program. The total for the overall capital program is at the top. So you can see there the 15-16 actual expenditures was 1.17 billion for the power revenue fund. The estimated for the current year spend is 1.345 billion, and the proposed preliminary budget for capital for next year for power is nearly 1.6 billion. The O&M...
Neil, could you slow down
sure.
1 second? Could you just go back in that last one?
Yes.
The capital... Sorry, what page you on?
Page 11.
Page 11. Do you have any projections as to the capital budget for the next 5 or 10 years and not just these years?
So we didn't bring the out-year budgets with us. We do a 10-year budget. Of course, we know the numbers are going to fluctuate from year to year. The numbers we portray in the preliminary budget, we only go for the consideration of the 1-year look ahead. But we do have future outlooks for the capital program. We'd be happy to sit down with you separately and go through the capital budget in more detail if you like.
I did have a question on the infrastructure and repowering. There's been an issue of gas-fired power plants and what we're doing with those. Does this, are we committing ourselves to putting new gas plants in by this budget?
So I will defer mostly to power system, but what I can indicate is the budget for fiscal year 17-18, the major change there is for scattered good units 1 and 2 for the repowering of those particular units. But to my knowledge, we're not putting in any new additional power plants. We are just repowering existing units within our current local in-basin plants.
And well, are those, is the one at Scattergood going to be operated more efficiently, and how often does it operate?
Well, that depends on need. With the new repowerings, they're about 30% more efficient. And that's 1 and 2 for outgoing years and future repowerings. We're studying that to look at the best path for us. We're looking at, the new programs with battery storage. We're looking at basically, in the future, whether it's an alternative gas to, so that's all being studied going future years outside of this budget year. We're still studying that.
When does Scattergood turn on again? When does it repower? In 2020 or 2024 or now or when? Is it now? Is it started repowering?
Lewis. So Lewis is going to come up, but we do have a presentation a little later in the day that does go over some of these items. Lewis.
So the repower unit was turned on, Unit 3 was turned on 2015, December 31st.
Okay.
The future units for 1 and 2 is slated for December 31st, 2020. However, we're looking at alternatives to the repower schemes that may be delayed for a year or two.
I would just ask that, if possible, that we not be bound to necessarily committing to gas, as much gas in the future, and that we explore the battery storage and other storage opportunities that are existent, and the technologies are improving. This is something that I've heard from the environmental community. They feel very strongly about this. There's a very strong effort to go 100% renewable. We've heard as a commission how it's important to have flexibility and to be balanced in our approach. And also the ratepayers, we have to look out for the ratepayers because there's obviously additional costs associated. But there are externalities associated with using fossil fuels that need to be factored in, and I think that it's worthwhile not having the board fully commit to these repowerings without making sure that we're looking at other alternatives. In other words, and having some type of alternatives analysis done that reflects the options that the staff had when determining whether to do a repowering or invest in storage or invest in something else. I think that that would be helpful, and it would be helpful as the budget proceeding goes through. I guess we have to approve it by the end of May, right?
Correct. By charter, we have the approval by the end of May.
Right. So I think that if the alternatives analysis can't be done by then, I think that it's important that the board have before it at some point after then what the alternatives look like, because that is a very big concern to a constituency that's feeling the pain right now from other actions in other jurisdictions that aren't as receptive to the notion that climate is impacting us and that we have air pollution problems. So I think that that would be very helpful. Thanks for answering the question.
And just for your information, that our 2016 IRP, the recommended case is increasing energy storage for 178 megawatts by 2021, which is our target for AB 2514, to increase to 404 megawatts by 2025. So that is our target at this point, and we're looking at alternatives to the repowering, and we're studying that at this point.
Can we look at an alternative to doubling the 440 to 880 to see how much it would cost? I think it's important that the ratepayers know how much it would cost, and if we decide to vote against it, it'll be because the ratepayers didn't want to pay for that, and not because the board didn't hear how much it would cost.
Right, and the recommended case did have a comparison between the 50% RPS versus the 55% RPS recommended case, and the rate increase between the 55 and 50% is very nominal, and I will get you the numbers. And as far as the energy storage, that's incorporated into that recommended case.
Okay, I'd like to see just an alternatives analysis for a significant increase in the storage above what the IRP calls for, because it seems like it's an important part of our renewables and intermittency, dealing with the intermittency of renewables strategy.
Yeah, and the alternative case will have the rate case plus, including the benefits alternative to repowering. We're looking at that.
Thank you. Sorry for holding that up.
No problem. Okay, so moving on from the capital expenditures to O&M, what you can see there is we try and keep the O&M relatively flat, just a gradual increase from year to year. The current year estimate is a little over $1 billion, and it's going up by roughly $20 million as we look to the 17-18 preliminary budget. For fuel and purchase power, you'll see there the changes in our various supply sources as we look to fiscal year 17-18. We do have an increase, I should say a decrease in natural gas, roughly about 3% from the 16-17 estimated to the 17-18 proposed. And you can see the change there is an overall increase from about $1.4 billion to $1.5 billion. The key expenditure plan summary for the water system, again following the same format as for power. Operating expenses, total operating expenses proposed are $777 million. Debt service of $302, increase of fund net assets of $205, a revenue requirement of just over $1.1 billion, and then total capital investment of approximately $940 million for 17-18. Brief descriptions here of each of the financial categories for the Water Revenue Fund. Moving on to the graphics, the capital trend. You'll see the actual expenditures in 15-16 were approximately $700 million. The approved budget for the current year is a little over $1 billion. The estimated expenditures now are roughly $943 million, and proposing to spend roughly the same for the coming fiscal year.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Neil, while you, again, the commonality in my mind, at least my simple brain looks at it very simply, is that we need storage for water and we need storage for electrons. And I think that in that vein, something that has been a big push by the Mayor's Office of Sustainability has been stormwater capture. And the counter-argument has always been it costs too much when it comes to micro or mid-range projects. I think that it would be helpful to have, especially with with the Oroville Dam and with all of the things that are going on, whether we have too much water or too little water, capturing water and storing it above ground and working out deals with sister water agencies might not necessarily be the, what I'd like to see is an alternatives analysis on substantially increasing stormwater capture and groundwater recharge. Double it and triple it, let the commission see what it looks like in terms of the overall budget, and let the commission make the decision that we don't want to do it, but let the public see what it is. And if the public is really interested in raising rates to pay for it or increasing our budget to pay for it, then they'll let us know. But I'd like to see that analysis, if possible, before the final budget's approved. I think that that's very important for us. I think that it will allow. I think it's very important. Thank you.
No problem. Just to provide, in terms of some context, for the coming fiscal year 17-18, the largest increase in funding for that year is actually water supply. It's about a $61 million change. It's roughly $42 million increase in funding for recycled water, about a little over $11 million for water conservation. This is increased funding. LA Aqueduct increased funding of about $4 million, and then groundwater management is increasing in funding as well. So we are making those investments in water supply, but we can work with the water system and get back to you with some alternatives analysis.
Yeah, I understand that, and I think that when we went through the outreach process for the rate investment case, and it was difficult to raise rates, but they hadn't been raised and for some time, and the investments weren't made, and the ratepayer advocate himself said that we needed more money than we were raising over the 5 years, and we would have a 2-year look back in 2018. So in preparation for that, I just think that it'd be good for the public to know, so that they have a choice and a decision to make. If they want to spend the money, the ratepayers want to spend the money on storage, on substantially amped up storage, and they want to follow what the ratepayer advocate said in 2016 to make the investments greater, then I think that we should have that option and choice, and the public should have it as well.
We'll provide that analysis.
Thank you.
Moving on to Water Revenue Fund O&M expenditures. An increase of roughly $30 million from the current year estimated to the next year's proposed. Increases primarily are in operating support, about $12 million, infrastructure as well, water supply, about $12 million on the O&M side increasing, and then some adjustments in water quality and the Owens Valley regulatory. This is a great slide. It looks like a slide too, actually. Our purchase water trend, as you can see there, our actuals from 15-16 were 262, decreasing to the approved budget for the current year of roughly 200, which is continuous in terms of our estimated. But looking at the 17-18 budget, it goes down precipitously to $97 million. And as you can see there from the note, really historic levels in terms of the snowpack in the Eastern Sierras, which is great. We're going to get a majority of our water coming down this year to provide supply for Los Angeles from our aqueduct, which is our cheapest water, our lowest cost water for our customers. Looking at the staffing prospects for the department, our current occupied level, this was as the end of January, was just under 9,700 filled positions. Looking at the funded headcount for the next fiscal year provides us some headroom of a little over 700 positions at 10,455. You can see the breakdown there by system as well. Below it is a breakdown of labor, overtime, and benefits by system. What I want to point out is that we have a large percentage of our workforce, proportionally about 23% or so, that are eligible to retire within the coming fiscal year. Obviously, that's a lot of knowledge and experience as we do lose those staff members to retirement. We're very happy for them, but for those of us who are still behind, we still have to get that work accomplished. And so in some areas within the organization, we are staffing up or ramping up additional positions above what the level is. As we see the attrition come down, it'll correct itself, but we are ramping up and making those investments in hiring staff so we can ease that transition. The labor funding, this next slide, similar to a slide we used in the presentation last year. Our labor funding is increasing over what was shown in the rate action budgets, both for the current fiscal year 16-17 and for the coming fiscal year 17-18. As you can see there, the largest area of increase in staffing is in power, specifically reliability program, infrastructure, and repowering work. That's roughly 45% of the increase. Water system, about 20% of the increase, again in water quality, recycled water infrastructure. The CCB remediation efforts, again, adds additional staffing as well for that. And then all other, which includes power, water, other areas, as well as other areas within joint, such as fleet, HR, corporate safety, security. So those are some changes. The result is roughly a $99 million increase over 16-17, proposed for 17-18. It's a cumulative, when you consider both fiscal years, the increased labor funding totals about $268 million. And then we have not been making reductions or cuts, as it were, but we have underspending in a number of areas within the budget, specifically mainly within the capital program. And we're using that underspending now as the way in which we can ramp up staffing in these critical areas. Timeline, next steps.
Hold on, Neil.
Sure.
Neil?
Yes.
On this slide, no, page 20, the water infrastructure, is that replacement of old pipes, water mains? What are you defining as infrastructure?
So infrastructure for us is primarily the main lines, the trunk lines, our water distribution system. It could also include infrastructure, it could be storage, our reservoirs, any work that's done there. And then, looks like Richard stepped out again.
It is mainly the pipes, putting in new main lines. They're looking at additional crews for that, as well as trunk lines, all of those different things. And you can also see it's talking about recycled water, which is part of the water supply. To Neil's point, there is no rate difference in this, in the amount of money we're going to spend. What we're doing is we're going to spend it with labor, and that's something that both water and power can talk about, why we're going to use labor in contrast to the non-labor, which would be contracts and those types of things. So that's the ongoing battle as we go forward in the budget, is to look at where do we use additional labor, where do we use the contracts. We're still using a lot of contracts, but we are making some increases in labor, which we have a lot of work going forward for decades.
All right, when we went to the community regarding the rate hikes, we mentioned that most of it was going to be for infrastructure.
Right.
And does this budget reflect that?
Yes.
Yes.
The largest investments we're making are in infrastructure, and the additional staffing is primarily going to areas of infrastructure and infrastructure reliability. That's true both on the water system side and the power system side. The largest increases in staffing we're seeing, say for example, in the power system are for the power system reliability program, the PSRP program. So that's, the poles, the cross arms, the transformers, the underground cables, all that work has to be done. And what I can tell you is when we look at staffing up for these really critical positions, the time it takes to train those staff that formulate our crews takes an awful lot of time. These are very skilled trades. It could take up to 4 years for certain classifications to get to the journeyman level. And we have a lot of attrition coming
Neil, can you go back to page 16 just real quick? Commissioner, just if you look at page 16 on the capital, and this is where the majority of our rate increase came from, and you look at those top three, which is water quality, which is a regulatory requirement, infrastructure, and water supply. Those are by far the three biggest components of that. And I mean, you could just see it graphically, especially in that last year. The operating support and the Owens Valley regulatory are a much smaller percentage. This is very consistent. The spending that we're going to do is very consistent with the rate action that we proposed and were approved on.
It's about a $240 million increase from what we were spending in 15-16 to what we're spending this year and next year. And that's largely water quality is increasing by over $100 million. The infrastructure is also increasing, comparing to 15-16 by about $75 million. Water supply is increasing. All those areas are increasing.
And one note on the water quality projects, a lot of those projects are also serving as infrastructure replacement projects because we're taking care of open reservoirs and other major pipeline reconfigurations. So they're doubling not only as water quality projects, but also helping to replace old pipes and old facilities as well.
Okay. So now, on the water side, do we have the staff that, or are you hiring on?
We're hiring. As a matter of fact, water system has been working now. No.
Yeah, we have a staffing plan, and actually completing this year and then going into next fiscal year, we're going to be hiring 449 additional staff throughout the department.
So they're coming in at a more of an entry level, and then other people are retiring?
So that's 449 new. So yes, they're all entry level, and then we'll continue to backfill all the senior positions as well.
Okay, because then I'm just wondering why then the labor costs are higher when it comes to, I have to find the page, benefits, pensions. Is that for new people? I thought we're saving money because some people are retiring and then the new people are coming in at a
That's part of it. The salary stint plan and turnover effect, when you have a more experienced staff member that's retiring after, say, 30 years or 35 years
Yes.
of service, and you're bringing somebody in at a lower level or journeyman level or entry-level position, their compensation will be less. But overall, we're making those investments in terms of additional funding in labor and labor benefits because we know we're going to have an issue with attrition coming forward as we look ahead the next several years. And really, it's not just in our department, it's across the city. All the city departments are all, they've been directed by the mayor's office to come up with staffing plans so they can deal with this issue of attrition.
That's my question. If we have the attrition, then why are our labor costs more on the on pensions and benefits, and then I see overtime?
So in the area of overtime, we budget a certain level, and what we've realized over the last several years is the actual overtime expenditures tend to run higher than what's been budgeted. And it could be a number of reasons.
Yeah, why is that?
Part of it is that if you look at the levels of staffing and the workload demands we're putting on the systems, there's a tremendous amount of work we're trying to accomplish, but the amount of staff that we can hire, we can't hire the staff fast enough. And so to accomplish the work, you have to then use some overtime. But the overtime is also used to ensure reliability, to get out there and respond quickly when there's storms and we have outages,
Right.
or if we have a pipe break or anything like that. And so we've tried to work with the systems and the organizations in the department and kind of right size where the overtime budget should be. So that's part of it. On the benefit side, our healthcare costs, they go up every year. They've been going up even faster than what we've projected. We're actually going to be looking at getting some new estimates this month that may change and increase the the healthcare budget as we look to 17-18. The pensions cost increase too. They will adjust based on whether or not the pensions were able to hit their assumed rate of return target or if they fell short. So we'll all hope for very strong stock markets at the end of June. But we also, when there's a change in the assumptions, as the assumed rate of return was reduced from 7.5% to 7.25%, that increases the plan sponsor, our department's costs, what we have to contribute via the actuary.
And just, Commissioner, one of the things that this board did first off was approve the second tier. And that has really been helpful. And I think we have now at least 1,600 of our existing employees are on that second tier pension. And we talked about it way back then.
Yes.
Hey, this is a key thing that we want to do because of the timing. And as Neil has brought up, we have a lot of people that are going to leave. They'll be replaced by people in Tier 2 pension. That is a savings. But the pensions tend to change slowly. That's by design. I mean, you have 5-year smoothings and all the assumptions Neil was talking about. But it is going to be helpful because we have the Tier 2 pensions will help us going forward to reduce costs.
The largest change in labor funding as we look to 17-18, it's about $117 million, or roughly a 6% increase from the current year adopted. It's about $40 million for healthcare cost increases, about $12 million for retirement and death benefit increases. There's some increases for COLAs and the overtime adjustments we've made, and then for new positions. The new positions, 301 new positions, roughly equate to about $22 million. And then there was some adjustments made to the vacancy factors in the department as well.
So the new positions, even with the new positions and hiring, what, 400 and so people, that you still need overtime.
That is correct. It's the amount of work that the work programs that we have across the department, and then responding to the reliability issues has necessitated most of that overtime. It is an area that, as we looked at the past couple of years, overtime expenditures against the budget, they were higher than the budget. We're hoping that as we're actually able to get new positions in place, that over time we can arrest some of the increases we've seen in the overtime. It's a balancing act we have to work with each organization on. And so that's what we're attempting to do. We kind of set limits on each of the organizations, say a 5% overtime limit on the joint organizations. It could be a 10 or 15% limit on some of the operational organizations. And sometimes they're able to fall within that limit, other times they exceed it. So we try and work the organizations every year to see what those overtime needs are, and then as we add additional staff, can we then mitigate that overtime?
I would think that our costs were higher this year because of the storms and people being out there 24/7 trying to.
They are hard this year.
They
We
really
definitely will
worked hard.
exceed
Yeah.
the overtime. But what's happened though is we will likely have savings in our regular labor because we haven't been able to fill all the positions. That helps to offset the cost of the increased overtime as well.
And the one thing we always look at is we try the combination of regular and OT. We want to keep that below budget. I'm just looking on our report. That's item 9. I don't want to go to it, but we're under budget on that by $23 million in total. So between the combination of regular and overtime, we're under budget, which is a good thing.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so for our timeline and next steps, again, we're just asking for your approval on the preliminary budget for the Water Revenue Fund and Power Revenue Fund today. And then we have the management review and update of the preliminary budget that we'll be working on over the next couple of months. We'll be working with the OPA as well to present more information to them, more detail about the final budget. And we'll come back to you in May for that final budget consideration, and then transmittal to the City Council and the Mayor. And then we've been instructed to provide some additional analysis as well on the areas of power in terms of storage and alternatives, and then the same on the water system side. So we'll be working with both those organizations to get back to this board with that information.
Yeah, and if you could make sure that the community that might be interested in those receives notice about that. I think I think you know who they are.
Yes.
I would add on the storage end of things, EV chargers, which is another kind of pet thing of mine that has been portrayed again as one of the ways of dealing with the imbalance and the intermittency of renewables. And I guess it's one of the options. We can't invest all of our money in it now. We have to take the approach of, but additional, it would just be helpful to respond to some of the rate-paying public that wants more of something, to say this is what it's going to cost you in the grand scheme of things, versus just, we didn't have enough money for it, because I think that if people see how much it's going to cost them, then they might be a little bit more informed. And I think it just demonstrates that we're listening to constituencies that have historically been very important to us as a commission, helping to guide us on our clean energy and water conserving future. So.
And we're doing all that we can. I can tell you we just had a meeting the other day on EV chargers and partnering with Bureau of Street Lighting, for example, and they have others they're partnering with to put these charging stations on their poles, to which we provide power to it. So very innovative, creative ways in which we can try and maintain our low costs, but yet still have that infrastructure out there for people to charge their vehicles. So we are definitely looking at that and working on that now.
Thanks.
I just have a procedural question. Are we going to discuss the ratepayer advocates paper that he sent us? Are we doing that separate or
Well, he
combined
just wanted
with
to
this?
be recognized, so why don't I call upon him and he can answer your question when he says whatever else he's going to say.
Okay, and then will Neil stay?
I'd be happy to stay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
One, this is the preliminary budget, and we have 2 months to discuss this and have a back and forth and refine our opinions on it. As ratepayer advocate, I recommend a transmission of this preliminary budget as required under the charter now, without amendment. But I think in the next 2 months, we should have some discussions about various components as we discussed in our memo. Our intention was to raise these issues now, but allow them to be worked through and discussed. And I think jointly with the Financial Services Group, we should be back to you at some interim point in another presentation before the final budget to discuss some of the issues and some of the trade-offs. One of the key things we worry about is what happens to when we don't meet our capital spending goals. First of all, that results in lower debt being taken out. But at the same time, there are other allocations. We'd like to have that discussion more publicly.
Yes.
And then also there is the trade-off between more labor and less outsourcing. And we'd like to have some discussion on the problems associated with that. They were similar to the problems that were raised in the billing system report of 2 years ago.
Those are all my yellows, underlinings.
Yeah,
and then some more. Yeah.
I think it's important that we work with SFO to make sure the facts are correctly represented as we walk through this. And the period between the preliminary budget and the final budget is the best time to do that.
Well, one of your comments on page 4 of your memo, between $200 and $300 million was collected in 2015-16 rates for capital work that was not performed in that year. So my question is, if we collected it, what did we do with that money?
Well, first of all, we didn't take out debt to cover about between 60 and 70% of that. But I think we want to find a simplified way of presenting that, and I think that's an important thing for us to wait and get back to you on that.
Do you have a...
No, I just think that, we work very closely with the RPA, and we'll continue to do that and provide them with whatever information they need for their analysis on the budget, whether it's the preliminary budget or the final budget. We're happy to have that
Because I think,
discussion
that's an important issue for ratepayers, that money was collected but not spent.
So much of what we have, I can say, is related to our pass-through adjustment factors, which we come to the board on. So our ratepayers, from the perspective that we have, we're not really collecting the money from our ratepayers if we're not able to spend the money in terms of the capital, the infrastructure pass-through for water, the reliability pass-through for power. What's happened is essentially we will have less expenditures and we will issue less debt, is what it amounts to, which saves our customers money as well. And that's what's been happening largely is on the capital side. We're still accomplishing much of the work. In some cases, with the metrics report we came to you earlier, I think it was earlier this month, we're actually ahead of those metrics targets. This was through part of this earlier this fiscal year on the cables, the cross arms, the transformers, and some areas of water. So we're able to accomplish a lot of the works and hit those targets, but it's difficult to spend some of those funds, largely because it takes time to get those contracts in place. That's really been a difficulty. It's something that was discussed during the rate action. The RPA has put that in previous reports as well. It sometimes could take 18 months or more to get contracts in place to perform some of this work.
Now, some of that, what you're talking about, was in Prop RRR, and of course that did not pass. So what my question is, and I guess reading this report, it's because of the rules and procedures of the city council that it takes so long.
I'd like to correct that phrase. It's the rules of the city, not the city council.
You have the city council in your report.
I should have taken out one word.
Okay. Okay. Now, if the city or the city council steps out of the way with these outsourcing rules and regulations, would this bring the contracting process down to 12 months?
It could. I mean, Gwen would be the best person to speak to all the rules on the contracting side. But having looked at this for the city, I can tell you that there are changes that could be made by ordinance that could streamline some of the contracting requirements, and that's something the mayor and council could do.
Well, those are the. I'm looking over here. Those are the items that were in Prop R, and that could be still go to city council and be enacted by ordinance and would not have to go to the ballot.
So items go ahead.
That's correct. That is correct, and our understanding is those should be going to the council sometimes in the next couple months. Furthermore, the report that you're reading, we do need to meet with the RPA and the FSO and go over a lot of the issues they have on the preliminary budget and work together, do the analysis, come back with the comments related to the final budget when that comes, or as Dr. Pickle said, an interim presentation so that we can talk about some of the distinct items that are related to our overall budget.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to ask is, are we scheduling a special meeting to discuss the budget or an interim meeting? Because there are a lot of, this is really complicated, a lot of issues here.
So when we meet with the RPA and his staff, let us get into the weeds, and we'll work our way through the weeds, and we'll come out with hopefully something that will show, and I think we can do that fairly easily, what happened. I mean, just to address did we collect this money that the customers that we didn't use? And the answer really is no. I mean, we've looked at it, and we need to share that with Fred or Dr. Pickle and his staff. So if you could let us do that, we'll work with them, and then we can see if we need to come back, but between now and the approval of the final budget, if we need to do something in between, or if it's something we can present during the final budget, either way.
Because we'll need to discuss this before the end of May.
Yeah. And basically, I know it is less debt, and even as Neil talked to it, on a pass-through, we don't collect that either on the cash funding of it, and the amount, it's very, we'll work through it, it's very small.
Yes, and as you can tell, I'm really interested in DWP having, the department having the freedom to make some of these decisions without having to stick to the city's rules and regulations.
And it's just important to remember, we haven't even got a full year since the rate's been approved. I know it seems longer, but it's only been 11 months.
Right.
So we are making, as Neil said, some significant progress. The rates and equity metrics that were presented at the last board meeting that I watched from the internet was great, and it actually shows that we have made some good progress on that infrastructure.
In the areas of overtime too, I could just offer up that there are city rules that prevent us from working during peak traffic hours and working on weekends, which also increases our overtime. And that's something that, in the context of the approval of Measure M, the Metro funding, transportation funding, there's a steering group the mayor has formed on that, and we've reached out to them to say, are there opportunities where maybe we could, in certain areas, not apply that rule, allow us to get that reliability, that infrastructure work completed, and that could reduce overtime potentially as well. So there are things like that that we do try and work on with the city.
Okay.
But yeah, so we're trying.
Okay. There's a sentence in here that I would like explained. It says, top of page, what is it, 5. Let's see. Cutting contract work and non-labor costs to support a trend that is gaining momentum in the opposite direction is unwise. DWP cannot afford to fall further behind industry norms while it remodels its workforce to meet changing demands. And I assume what you mean by industry, it would be Edison and PG&E. So if you could explain that to me, and if we are falling behind industry norms, how are we justifying this?
I'll turn to the OPA.
In the Navigant report on the rate case, it looked at productivity of DWP relative to other industry players, and it showed that we were in the high third, low fourth quartile.
Say that again.
It showed that our productivity, DWP's labor productivity, was in the third to fourth quartile, 75th percentile high relative to the peers. And with accelerating spending, while we know from other sources that the long-term trend is down, our productivity is getting worse when it should be getting better. And the way to fix that is investment in a whole variety of areas, especially IT support for the workforce. And so that'll take a long period to change, and it needs a broad area of IT investment to change. We're proposing as follow-on to the total compensation study, some cost benchmarking to go into that in detail. And we're hoping to start that up in the near future.
Well, that's an issue we have to talk about, for sure. Okay.
Other questions, comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda. I think we should move to the special meeting agenda. People were expecting it at 12:30 or thereabouts. And I should mention that my desire, we'll see whether it can be satisfied, is to do the special meeting agenda, then go back to the two items on the management report that we're going to hear today, A and C. We're going to defer B, and do as much of the open agenda as possible before
we have dinner.
We have dinner at lunchtime. We'll see how much of it we can do. Dave, special meeting.
Actually, first we will recess. We will first recess the regular
the regular meeting is recessed, and we will convene the special meeting.
Thank you. Yesterday, Mayor Garcetti issued a declaration of emergency for a situation that's a little different than often a declaration is issued for, which we are doing that and requested that, and the mayor made that proclamation in advance of an anticipated issue rather than after the fact. So we could actually do the best thing for Owens Valley and for the ratepayers of LA by starting to make some improvements in the very short run, and damage mitigation perhaps is the best way to put that, so we can move forward in advance of the spring runoff. I will tell you, and Rich will get into this, but literally until the end of December we were tracking the driest year of snow that reached the aqueduct. And from that date, in 12 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks, we've essentially gone to the wettest year in water that could eventually reach our aqueduct. An amazing change in just literally 2.5 months. That amount of runoff can have some significant impacts, and Rich will go ahead and go through what the impacts are and some of the potential issues. There is a handout that was just passed out, and I know that a lot of what he'll present is on that handout, so he'll be referring to that as we move forward. So go ahead, Rich.
Sure. So I'll explain to you again briefly what the impacts are derived from. So as David said, we're getting a tremendous amount of snowpack that's going to result in, we estimate, 1 million acre-feet of runoff coming in to our aqueduct system and down through the Owens Valley. That's, to give you an idea how big that is, that's twice the amount that the city actually drank last year and what we essentially estimate they're going to drink again this year. Half of that is the total capacity of the aqueduct, so we intend to take 500,000 acre-feet to the city. We're making certain changes within our distribution system to maximize the amount that we can bring down to Los Angeles. That includes such significant things as reducing down to as small amount as we can, the amount that we purchase from the Metropolitan Water District. So we're going to serve our own customers probably about 75% aqueduct water this year. Up in the Owens Valley, we have certain obligations for environmental mitigation projects, as well as supplying water to ranchers, and all of those obligations will be met. In addition, we're going to spread probably an equal amount just within the valley to raise up the groundwater level. Despite all of those efforts, there's still going to be probably 200,000 acre-feet of water that we just can't put to beneficial use anywhere out. We just can't get in the ground fast enough. We can't get any more to Los Angeles, and that will end up really flowing to the lowest part of the Owens Valley, which is Owens Lake. It's basically the Pacific Ocean of the Owens Valley. It's the lowest spot. It's where all the water runs. In years past, wouldn't be such a big deal, and it was somewhat normal operations for us. But as you know, we have over $1 billion worth of capital expenditures on Owens Lake to fulfill our dust mitigation requirements down there. And when we look at 200,000 or even 100,000 acre-feet of water ending up in Owens Lake, we can see that it will impact our dust mitigation measures. So in that sheet that I gave you, there's a rendering of Owens Lake, and you see a dark blue and then you see a lighter blue shading in there. As you know, Owens Lake is sometimes called Owens Dry Lake because it's mostly dry on the playa. That's what we dried it. But there's actually a 30 square mile lake in the middle that's a salt sink there. And we estimate that if 200,000 acre feet ends up in the lake, it'll raise the elevation of the lake 7 feet and push out to that lighter blue footprint there. And so you can see the black line polygons within there. That's the dust control measure. So we estimate there could be a good amount of damage by the flooding waters hitting our roads, our berms, our distribution system that we use to push water out there, pumping stations and the like. So we do expect some damage. So we need some assistance. So the mayor's proclamation gives us two things. One, it gives us, actually gives the general manager the opportunity to have special purchasing powers to bypass competitive bidding process. That's the subject of the resolution that you'll be voting on today. And then it also puts into motion, along with our partners in Inyo and Mono, also having emergency resolutions and declarations that we will be able to seek assistance from the state, mostly in the form of cooperation from state agencies through their environmental regulations would otherwise impede the pace at which we can get ahead of this flood. So what's the damage? Well, it's kind of like train wreck kind of slowly coming at you. You can see it come, but we have the opportunity to mitigate some things. So along the aqueduct, we'll be cleaning out our water conveyance facilities ahead of time and in response to any debris that kind of flows in there. We are going to want to raise the level of our dams, or at least the capacity of water that we can store in there. And there's just some projects that may need some waivers as well, even down on Owens Lake. So that's the action that's being put into motion with the mayor's proclamation.
I just had a quick question.
Sure.
What will the impact be on groundwater in LA and particularly the San Fernando Valley?
Sure. So part of the operations we hope to do is to spread as much groundwater as we can. Fact of the matter, though, is that it's rained a lot down here in Los Angeles. So the county is the agency that is responsible for controlling floodwaters here. So they have up in the foothills of the San Fernando Valley, Pacoima Dam and Big Tahunga Dam. And the way those work is stormwater comes in those that fills up, and then they slowly release it into our groundwater basin, percolation basin. So we're competing with them and the water that they're releasing, but we've worked out arrangements with them that when there isn't rainwater for them to spread, then we're going to put our aqueduct water in there as much as we can.
Okay.
That's a great question, though.
Good. Thank you.
We're just going to let it wash away.
No.
Other questions or comments? Okay, before I call for a motion, Barbara, please call the roll for this special meeting.
We have Commissioners Berard, Funderburk, Levine, and Noonan present, and I had no cards turned in for items 1 or 2.
Thank you. Is there a motion to support, is there a motion to support this resolution?
So moved. Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimously approved.
Thank you.
Okay, we will adjourn the special meeting and reconvene the regular meeting. And we move to report on status of settlement of billing class action litigation.
I will go ahead and take that one. And while the PowerPoint is being loaded, I also do want to let you know that we've looked at the content of the presentation 7C, and if the board would like to, we can defer that to a future meeting, because we know it's been a very full
I suspect
agenda.
the board would like that. Is there any objection to deferring that to a future meeting? Without objection.
All right, thank you very much. As you know, we have had some class action lawsuits related to the billing section, and I did just want to update the board on a few things because the letters are about to be mailed to customers, and this way you'll be aware of what's happening should you hear anything. So there are several subclasses, as you know, that were in the class action lawsuits. And some of the subclasses I'll just go over were overbilling or an incorrect fee applied to account, overbilling related to solar, an unrefunded credit balance on an account. There's also some claims that would require to be made based on some condition that existed at the customer's premises that influenced or impacted how they were billed. If they were overdrafted in their account because we double hit their account through an auto pay approach, the omnibus subclass, and another subclass related to field work. In the presentation, all the numbers presented are either rounded or approximates. We didn't want to get into, you know, the 6-digit numbers that were exact because it really detracted from the presentation. So letters are going to go out to a number of customers, and at the end I've got the dates of those customers, but just wanted to go in to some of the numbers that are occurring. So of that non-claims made subclass, which means we've calculated the amount that we believe the customer is owed, and we'll be sending out letters to a number of customers. You could see about $447,000 for overbilling, $384,000 for incorrect fees, several other thousands. There's 760,000 letters that will go out with a calculation that we have made that tells the customers, here's how much we think that you're owed by DWP. There's then the claims made subclasses. So the premise condition that we think there was an item at your location that caused an issue. If you think there was, you're going to need to provide some documentation of what that impact is. If we overdrafted your account, you need to let us know what the overdraft fee is so that we could provide that refund. So whenever we had the ability to make that calculation, we did it, but when we couldn't, we're letting the customer know that we think this impacted you, so here's an area you can go research and provide the documents we need to make you that that payment to you. On the letters that we send out, they might have the customer or former customer might be a member of just one subclass, or they could be a member of several subclasses, and we have identified every subclass we could see they potentially qualify for and let them know. So about 85,000 letters are going out in these subclasses. There's also then fieldwork investigation. About 56,000 customers are receiving a letter that says we may need to come to your home to determine, or your place of business, whatever it is, because something looks like we need a field investigation at your home to know whether or not there's an issue, and we can schedule that with the customer. And then finally is a group of customers that are going to get a letter that says there's been a class action lawsuit. We don't see that there's any subclasses you're a member of, but if you think there are, then please let us know and we can work through that. And that's about 1.5 million customers. The letters go out to every customer that is currently a customer of LADWP and every person that was a customer of LADWP over the last several years that isn't a customer anymore. That's why we're sending out more letters than we have customers. The letters are multi-page, and I do want to let you know that it's got a multi-page notice and claim packet, so it is a multi-page letter. It's what was required through the court settlement process, so people will be getting basically a significant packet that might say, we can't see that we owe you anything, but here's all the documentation we're obligated to provide you so you can make that determination. So there's a lot of questions, and there have been a number of questions over what are the amounts. The majority of claims average less than $20 per account. Again, our commitment was to refund 100 cents on the dollar. And so I've got to let you know that about 80% of customers will get a credit for less than $1. That's about 72,000 customers. 7,500 customers are actually going to be refunded a penny. That was the requirement for the settlement.
What does it cost us to notify them that they're going to get a penny?
It cost us the mailing to send it out to them, but yes, the stamp will cost more than the refund, but it was the obligation of the settlement that every customer, even overcharged by 1 cent, would get that refund. The best thing is after the first notification, for most customers, that credit can just be applied to their existing account.
The penny.
The penny. But there's going to be a few customers, and that's why I want to let you know now, who will receive a check after this process that says 1 cent. And again, it was the obligation of the settlement that we're required to do that, and we're already prepared for the negative relations and press that we will get for sending out a 1 cent check. But we're obligated to do it, and there's no way around it.
There's no way that ratepayers can opt out of receiving this notification and has to receive it by email?
My understanding, and if I'm wrong, is that every customer has to be notified as part of the settlement, and you can't opt out of being notified. Correct?
Well, opt out of being notified by mail versus email. Specifically for this.
Yeah, we are actually notifying everybody by address and by email if they've also requested email, but because we have to take every action we possibly can to reach that potential individual, we're sending it out both ways.
That is correct. We are notifying the folks who requested email notification of the fact that the mail is coming, but we are sending the notices out by mail to everyone. Again, if you keep in mind what Dave spoke about the logistics of 2.6 million of these being sent out, while it sounds conceptually easy to send out emails and have the appropriate notices given to the customers, it is actually quite complex. And working with plaintiff's counsel, the determination that was made was that we were much better off ensuring that the appropriate notice is given, because keep in mind that this being a settlement of a class action, we need to ensure that proper notice is given and people are given the opportunity to respond. That was the decision that was made jointly with plaintiff's counsel, was that it was better to have the physical notices sent, even though there is a greater cost, than trying to work out the logistics of, with emails, ensuring that the right notices are being sent to the right customers and such. That was the determination that was made, that it would just be too complex to work those logistics.
So the decision's already been made, I guess, is what you're saying.
That is correct, because the notice period is from now through April 4th, and so really we are in a mode working with the claims administrator to get those notices mailed out over the next week and a half, 2 weeks.
What does this actually mean? 8%, so that's how many and how much money is it going to cost DWP to send that out for people who are going to get $1 or less?
If I could, that's 8% of those that are receiving a refund.
Yeah, so that's right. That's
correct.
How many is that?
Correct. Well, about how many are getting refunds that we've calculated?
It's about 800 to 900,000. 800 to 900. So it's 8% of the people who are receiving refunds.
Right.
Are receiving a refund of one.
Okay, so what I'm asking is what?
7,500 right there.
7,500.
It's what?
7,500.
75. No, before that it says 72,000 will be refunded $1 or less.
Right. So that is 8% of the total number of customers who are receiving a refund. That's 8% of that number.
And that includes the 7,500.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
And then just the note is that there's 7,500 customers will receive a refund of 1 penny.
Right, okay, so of this 72,000, do we know what that's going to actually cost DWP in terms of the stamp, the paper, the labor, and all that goes into sending out 72,000?
So as part of the class action, we have an obligation to
I understand that, but what will it cost?
A stamp and paper, a
paper.
buck.
We either
to
have
do
to,
that.
sorry.
I was just going to say, a stamp and the paper it takes to make that mailing. So it's probably equal to the amount they'll get back when we look at the net cost to mail that out. I will tell you, that's basically 72,000 out of the 2.5 million
Yes.
letters that we need to mail out. So while it sounds like a big
Yeah.
number, of the overall communication letters that we send out,
Yes.
it's a small, but I wanted to let you know it exists.
Well, I know that I overpaid, I think it was Bloomingdale's, and I got a check for 4 cents. And I thought, what the?
Just one comment made. We either have to send them a letter of how much we need to refund them, or we have to send them a letter saying we believe we didn't overbill you. So the cost of sending a letter from saying that we owe you a penny, we still would have had to send them a letter saying we didn't owe you anything. So the total, we have to mail something to every customer.
Right.
Whether it says there's no refund or there's a penny refund.
So there's no way for the customer to kind of opt out of the payment of getting the, in other words, I wish that the store would have said, do you want the 4 cents? And I'd say, forget it, Now at DWP, that's a whole different thing. It's not a private for-profit corporation.
Again, what we are trying to do is to resolve this litigation. So once we are in this sort of litigation process, there are certain things that need to be done in terms of notification, notice. And so I think that's really where a large part of this process comes forward, is we need to notify folks of it. Again, if customers were to inform us that they did not want the credit, they could certainly go about doing that, but it again gets complicated because what we want is to resolve this litigation. And so we would have to, that is not the way we had worked out this settlement. Keeping in mind we worked it out with the mediator and with plaintiff's counsel. This was the arrangement we were able to reach.
And as you mentioned, they would have had to send you a notice to ask you if you wanted your 4 cents. As Mark said, we have to send you a notice regardless of what it says.
The optics of this are not the best.
No. I think what we will come back to, that we have said all along will continue, the settlement means every person gets every cent on the dollar, and that is our obligation that we should provide you. And unfortunately, the notification to say that's going to look a little strange, but as Mark said, if that didn't say you get a penny, it would still be provided to you and say, this is going on, and we want to let you know because you have the opportunity to participate in the settlement.
So that statement about our obligation, I hope, will be in that letter.
Certainly.
So they understand why they're getting what they're getting.
That is correct.
Okay.
Vice President Vanderbroek, may I?
Yes.
All right. Well, I appreciate this discussion and the topic overall. I want to commend General Manager Wright, because I know that this has been a separate part-time job that he has taken very seriously and has dedicated evenings upon evenings and weekends to make right by all of our ratepayers. I have the highest respect for you, and I know the thoughtfulness, the consideration that you've taken not only to increase customer service appreciation for DWP, but how seriously you took this matter, and I continue to be impressed with you, so thank you.
I appreciate those comments. IT staff and legal staff have been unbelievably amazing in this process, and the work it takes to come in after the fact on a system that was implemented very poorly for a number of reasons, which people know about, and try to fix after the fact all these issues, so I appreciate that.
There's no doubt that you inherited this problem, but the way that you addressed it so methodically, so thoughtfully, so ethically is in a league of its own. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll just shouldn't race through, I should say, but just go through the last couple slides. We do have a third-party administrator who is part of the settlement. So if you have a claim, it goes through an independent administrator so that, again, it provides the customer with that awareness that someone independent is looking at their claim. We do expect a large number of calls that'll probably come to our customer service center who will refer to the independent administrator because it needs to be, the contact needs to be independent of DWP. But we do think some of the calls will say, you know, how was the amount calculated? Someone will say, we believe it's too low, I was expecting more, but there will be an analysis for each customer that has any sort of appeal, and it can be reviewed. And again, customers will ask about damages, evidence, why they received the letter, and we do have frequently asked questions. So finally, to let you know and why this is needed to be done today because of the timeliness, letters drop tomorrow night at midnight, essentially. So on March 22nd, we expect 30,000 letters to go out. A couple days later, 100,000 letters and for each of the items identified. Next week, 650,000 letters towards the beginning of the week, and towards the end of the week, the last 1.5 million letters. So as you see, there's close to about 2.25 to 2.3 million letters that will go out over the next 2 weeks. So everywhere you go, your friends and neighbors will all be asking you about this letter and wanted to let you know that it was coming and
We're
that...
going to tell them to call you.
Great. I think I'll go unlisted for... but that, again, we present this as at the board to make sure there's a public awareness that the letters are coming out, that there are a number of contacts that is part of the settlement, and that we have an independent party to help interact with customers to determine the exact amount they might believe they're owed, that whether it's the same or different than the amount we're identifying that they owe. So with that, be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for those of you who've been working on this. There's a guy in the back of the room who may have had something to do with it. Okay, items 9A, Financial Services Organization Report.
Happy to answer any questions you may have.
No
9A?
questions. No questions.
What did you say?
9A. 9A.
Oh.
9B, Office of CAO, February report.
You didn't answer any questions.
No questions. Water system, September. Any questions? No questions. Item 10, discussion with neighborhood council representatives on any neighborhood council resolution or community impact statement filed with the city clerk which relate to any agenda item listed or being considered on this agenda for the Water and Power Board.
No community impact statements or formal positions were filed by any neighborhood councils on the items on today's agenda.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the board meeting of March 7th? I move it. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, they're approved. Okay, between items 12 through 27, do any commissioners wish to remove any of these items from the consent calendar?
Well, now, 12, are we discussing 12?
We've discussed 12.
We've discussed 12.
Right.
Under 6.
Oh,
Okay.
I have to recuse myself from one of these items.
Which one?
Number 21.
Okay, 21, Mr. Funderburk needs to recuse. We'll hold that. Is there a motion to approve items 12 through 20 and 22 through 27?
So moved.
Second. Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Those are approved. Mr. Funderburk recuses on item 21. So after, okay. Is there a motion to approve item 21?
So moved.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did you vote?
Yeah.
Oh, that's approved. Okay. Okay. we'll go into closed session.
Yeah, at this time, we will recess in a closed session to address the items on agenda item 8, and we'll report any final action taken thereon in accordance with the government code.
Thank you.
Stop mantra.